Una mattina mi sono svegliato, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Una mattina mi sono svegliato e ho trovato l'invasor. Oh partigiano, portami via. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 7 of your favorite communist podcast, My Daughter is a Communist. My name is Johnny Rogers. Please, gentlemen, introduce yourselves in case the folks haven't heard of you.
I go by goddamn Roby Hollywood. It's a brand name like Pepsi.
I go by my government name, Fadi Nassar.
Which is a mistake. Really, let me tell you something.
You never
Googleable.
go by your government name, goddammit.
I don't know why. Like, you know
I
what
don't
I'm
go
saying?
by
Like,
my government name.
You know what it is? It's because Fadi, like, I don't know if you guys remember this last
Fadi's
week.
a good name, man.
No, but like last week
It's a
you were
brand
like,
name like Coca-Cola.
Last week you were like, I'm okay getting pulled over. I got my papers now, goddammit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
When a
Yeah.
motherfucker start like driving legal, he goes from little T to John Michael Michaels. That is my name. I'm okay. I'm
Slide
okay.
this way.
I'm
There we go.
I'm
My
okay.
new
I'm
name
okay
is
with going-
Carlton.
Carlton,
Carlton.
goddamn. You know what I'm saying? You know, guys. Like I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm naming my son Ashton Robert Mudenge.
Benege? That's a
Mudenge.
mistake.
That is my last name.
That's a mistake.
You know what? See,
He's taking your last name? That's a mistake.
Johnny,
You should call him Hollywood, Ashton Hollywood, man.
Johnny is like, you are limiting your child's employment prospects to such a level that is
You
parental
better be buying
negligence.
some Tommy Hilfiger. He's not
That is-
getting employed at the
You know,
Gap.
you know what I'm saying? I should. What should I name him? Ashton Robert what? Like, should I give him a Jewish
Ashton
name? Ashton Robert Goldstein.
Goldstein, there you
You
go.
know
what I'm saying?
what about this? What about Ashton Robert Abercrombie? You know, he's just right.
No, but that kid is a douchebag, and he probably does not believe in consent.
I like the name Ashton.
That-
though.
Yeah.
He
Ashton?
definitely doesn't believe
He
in
does
consent.
not believe in consent. Ashton
Oh,
Robert,
God.
like Ashton Robert Abercrombie. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
that-
yeah.
I like the
no.
name Ashton, though. It's a good name, man.
It
Solid
is,
name for the kid.
you know, but you know what though? I was looking it up online, and there is mixed reviews. First of all, half of Google believes that Ashton is a girl's name. I don't.
Yes.
I don't think so.
Who's fucking a girl named Ashton?
I don't. You know what?
What?
I wouldn't. Personally
Yo.
speaking, I wouldn't
I
because
wouldn't
of
fuck a girl named Ashton.
Look, man, nobody's
I'm
fucking
sorry.
any girl named Ashton. I'm
any girl
sorry.
named Ashton has gotten rid of a dick.
I remember
Any-
a guy named
but-
Ashton that dated a girl named Ashton, and that was fucked up.
That's
You know
fucked
a
up.
guy named Ashton that dated a girl named Ashton?
Yeah, it was weird.
That's haram, bro.
No. Listen, let me tell you something. That child
It's
is
not
either that child is a school shooter. That is really what the
That
problem
is
is.
low. That is low
I do wanna
standards.
say, I know a few Ashtons that pull beer bitches, man.
Yo, that's a
So
fact.
you
That's a
gotta,
fact.
you
See,
gotta,
my
teach-
son.
you gotta have the talk about the birds and the
no.
bees at age 2.
Honestly, bro, let me tell you something, man. I'm so excited about being a dad, especially being a dad to a boy. I'm a boy dad. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's a girl dad after Kobe died. I'm a boy dad right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm a boy dad right now. And let me tell you something, man. Like here is a couple of things that I'm gonna teach my son. One, understand.
Robbie, do you have a kid for real?
No, I have one on the
Robbie's
way.
about to-
Oh,
10.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
April 10th.
How do you
don't
feel
know
about
what's
that, Patty?
real anymore.
I know. Patty's like, you're just another statistic. Look at that. Another
not at all.
black man having a man
He wasn't
having
gonna
a
say
child out of
anything.
wedlock.
No, I'm genuinely, that's a good thing. I thought you were just kidding. I'm genuinely like, no, that's a fantastic thing. Congratulations.
You know what?
Especially if you are having a son.
Yes, I am.
Absolutely.
That-
That's the way to go.
But you know
That
what?
is the way to go. Like, we
Can I-
have a decision in the matter. Like,
Hey,
can I have a
congratulations
son?
to Robbie, man, for real,
Yeah,
man.
for
Appreciate
real,
that.
for real.
That's
Can I tell you guys
congratulations.
something though? Like, I at first, like, when I always thought about having a kid, I always wanted a son. But then I've been like, I follow this Instagram page called Black Fathers. And I always see these little girls, right? And my dad, like growing up, like I'm the oldest of, I have 3 sisters, right? And there is something about being the father of a girl that like gives you that, like it's a different kind of love. See, to me, my son, the moment he turns 6, he's gonna need to learn about door-to-door sales. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm putting him out there. Like he needs to learn the toughness of life. Like this kid is gonna fucking cure cancer, bro. Because
Please
put
teach him the
him through
realities
some
of
shit.
life, man. Please.
Oh my
Yo,
god.
if I become rich and I have kids, I'll be, and they ask me for money, I'll be like, no, this is my money.
Bro, I'm gonna tell
You
something.
need to go make
I'm
your
just gonna
own
put it out
money.
there. Those
Yeah.
kids that their parent put them on leashes, those kids are gonna end up shooting up schools, man.
Oh, no,
for
no,
sure.
No, Cat Williams said
I'm
the best.
free.
That's just entertainment for black people. You know what I'm saying? When we see white, like, when we see
I
white
love-
folks with like their kids on a leash in the supermarket,
Yeah.
that's just entertainment for like.
Yo,
That's just
I
entertainment for
love-
black folks.
Yeah,
That's
you
just
think you
love-
know what a leash is?
Oh,
I
bro.
love when I see black parents out with their kids and the kids acting up because you watch them just fucking give
Oh,
them one.
yeah.
And
But
you're,
yo-
and you're like, yeah, that's.
But yo, let me tell you
very
guys something.
warranted. I got beat as a child.
Oh shit.
I got my ass.
I
My
can't
uncle
even-
could hit me with a slipper from anywhere in the city. I could be in the
Oh,
CN Tower chilling. You
From
know?
Eddie, what's that? Eddie Murphy said like he was talking about like how his mom can hit him with a
yeah.
No, I'm
flip-flop.
talking about my uncle Nabil.
Yo.
That motherfucker can fuck people up, man.
Yo, let me tell you something. Like I have this bit that I do on stage about the fact that I was raised in a country with no children's services, right?
Yeah.
Like when you become a
children
parent,
soldiers.
No. Think about it. Like listen, when you think about becoming a parent, right? You try to look at your own upbringing.
I caught that, Johnny. I caught that, Johnny.
Johnny, you're a piece of shit.
I
But-
caught that, Johnny.
Well, I think that's a good place because we could get into a debate. Keep going.
But check this out. Though. Check this out. Like,
Finish your sentence.
No, but like when I was growing up, right? The style of parenting that my parents used on me, it's not legal in Canada. Like I'm going to like
hell
if
no.
I raise my kids the way my
no.
dad
Hell
raised me,
Yeah.
I'm going to prison. That's 15
yeah,
to life.
yeah,
That
yeah.
is like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I thought I had it rough as a kid, and then I met a friend of mine when I was 10.
was
And he was
immigrant?
Greek.
Yeah.
His Greek
Yeah,
family. And this motherfucker, he was like, yeah, my dad bought me a rabbit. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. He goes, yeah, but then he cooked it for dinner. And I was
see,
like, that's
here's
the
the thing.
shit only a European
Let-
family would do.
Let me clear that up for you. Let me tell you what like people say like oh white parents are soft on their kids. It's not true. Let me tell you what the difference is. The criminal justice system in a black household and in a white household are very different. See, things that could be considered a misdemeanor in a white household will get you the chair in a black household.
I don't know, dude.
I
I
know.
thought my dad
I
shit his
do.
pants when a cop came up to him after he was
Bro,
yelling at us.
I'm
My
telling
My
you.
dad was
I
freaking the fuck
I
out.
want to tell you guys a little something. So I grew up in the Middle East, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my cousin George and my uncle Nabil. So my cousin George was one of the baddest kids in the Middle East. He was just fucking doing all kinds
How
of
can you
crazy
be a
shit.
bad kid in the Middle
Dude,
East? Like
he
these
was bad.
motherfuckers throw
What's a
stones
bad
at
kid in
tanks.
the Middle
You
East?
throw
was
stones
bad.
at tanks. Like
Let me-
how
let
can
me-
you
let me
be
say something. Guys,
Ute Hussein.
buddy,
who dare who say it? You know what I'm saying?
This kid was bad, man, and he would get the worst whoopings. And then it got to the point when he got beat so bad that he just grew numb to it, and then he just started beating his dad.
He
That-
beat his dad?
That
Yo.
is the end of the line of that.
No, but that's
Yeah.
actually no.
That's what
like,
happened.
I respect
This
that.
kid got the worst of the worst beatings, from like age like 6 to like fucking 15.
No, that's
damn.
bare
He
facts
just,
though.
then he just turned around and said, "You know what? I could fuck you up now."
Let me tell you
Yo.
something though. No,
That-
listen.
That was the one case of really.
I remember-
like that kind of style of parenting.
I
going wrong.
remember my cousin said to me one time, you know when you get like, you're getting a little angsty in your teens? My
Yeah.
cousin just looked at me and he was like, I could see you fighting your dad one day. I was
No,
like,
no.
what do you mean fighting
That's
my
some
dad
white
one
guy
day?
shit, man.
Here's
I
the
would
thing- here's the
never
thing-
lay a hand on my dad. bro.
here
You
is-
are
Oh, my dad would beat the
fucking
fuck
mother.
out of me.
No,
See,
if somebody fucks with my dad, I'm fucking them up, bro. My dad's my guy, bro.
No,
Oh,
but
yeah,
see,
yeah.
no, but
I'm
see, take this in,
swinging.
take this
I'm
in. See,
swinging.
my dad, right? My dad, when I was 13, right? He left the country first because we're political refugees, right?
Okay.
He left the country first.
Easy there, Tony
He moved
Montana.
to the States. No, right? No. He moved to the States, and then it took about 3 years until the family reunification process actually went through, right? So in that time, my mom left a year after he did, and then we're living with my aunt. And then at that time, we're like, you know what? Fuck school, fuck everything. We're going to America. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to
Coming
fucking,
to
right?
America.
So then my dad remembers me at 13, and then I show up to the States at 17. Now this guy is trying to treat me like the 13-year-old he remembers. Let me tell you something, bro.
Yeah.
This shit fucking
Right.
got out of hand very quickly. Now, you know what immigrant parents do? They threaten you with sending you back to Africa. And then, but see, to me,
Ain't
I'm like,
nobody
yo,
wanna go back to
listen,
Africa.
you just spent
love
the
that.
last 3 years trying to get me here. You're not sending me back
Why
anywhere.
is it always
You can't afford
Africa
to
though?
send
No,
me
you
home.
cannot
Africa-
afford to send me back to Africa. That's not happening.
I feel bad for Africa because Africa is always uses like the brunt of like a punishment, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
even your dad was like, "I'll send you back to Africa." Like my mom was like, "There are
While we're
starving
on-
kids in
while we're on
Africa."
this
I'm like,
topic, Robbie, is Africa really all that bad, or is there like?
No,
is
no,
there
listen, let me tell you something.
pockets of wealth?
For me,
'Cause I've heard
Africa
of
wasn't
African
bad
people-
because I come from a very rich family. So, like,
What?
Africa wasn't that bad. Like, my family
Some
back
gas
home.
money, dog. I fucking.
No, listen.
You still owe me
That was
$20.
before the government fucking snatched all our
when
shit.
he says there was a
Now-
political
now,
thing, he was like a royal family.
I'm Canada. No. Listen, my great grandfather was the first ever ordained lawyer in my country. So he built this big law firm that he passed on to my grandpa, who passed it on to my dad, and that was supposed to be next in line. And then my dad said some shit on the radio one day, and
He's
then they were
not
like,
Jewish enough. You know,
Yeah,
just-
no, but see, here's the point that I'm trying to make though. Like you said something about like your parents would tell you that there is starving kids in Africa.
Yeah.
Back home, my dad would be like, "Look outside the window. There is starving kids outside right now. Finish your food." You know what I'm saying? But like,
all
but-
they're eating is Pop-Tarts.
no, but see, here's the thing though. Just to break it down for you, African parents have, especially when you come to Canada or to the States with older kids, you have a hard time adjusting to the type of parenting that is required
Yeah.
here, right? So
They
for
try to do
example,
the same shit.
right? If you whoop your kid's ass and your neighbors hear it, you know what are they gonna do? They're gonna
Oh
call
my
the cops.
God, I can't
right?
count the amount of times.
Back home, my dad used to whoop my ass so hard I wouldn't be crying. I would be hollering for help. You know the difference between hollering?
Yeah.
And then the next day I'm walking down the street going to school. My neighbor sees me. He's like, Robert, I heard. What did you do to deserve this?
What did you do?
What did you do to deserve such a whooping? Like, you used to get your ass whooped at school and you wouldn't even tell your parents when you get home because your parents would be like, what did the teacher beat you for? And then you would get an extra whooping on top of that. But I was a
damn.
shit kid though.
So
I was a
different.
shit kid.
I also like my family. My dad had money back home. Just to get personal, my mom kind of destroyed all that. By the time we came to the States, we were fucking piss poor. Literally came to the States with nothing. But I had a maid back home, man. We had two maids.
Oh yeah, no, maids
and,
are.
and you want to hear some
I
wild
love that.
shit?
I had a maid. In fact, we had two of them.
We had two. We had one Egyptian and one Sri Lankan.
Labor is cheaper.
Yeah, and you know,
Labor is
you
very
know
cheap
one
out
of
there.
you
There's a
guys
lot of
when you-
uneducated bitches out there.
You want to hear some bizarre shit, man? Talk about some racist shit. So the Arabic language, the word for servant is one of two words, okay? It's either khaddam, which means servant.
Cunt.
No, it means servant, or Sri Lanki
Oh.
is the second word for khaddam, which is Sri Lankan servants, man.
You know, my boy from Dubai told me that. His like, you know,
those-
like
bro,
it just.
Dubai enslaves everybody.
That's-
That's,
Like,
bro,
got
they're
Filipinos,
enslaving
blacks,
Instagram
yeah.
influencers. They're like
Yeah.
telling them to come over and they're like, "Oh, shit on your chest for 50 million rupees or whatever the fuck." They're like,
But
"Okay."
bro, when your money comes from the ground, listen, like
Yeah,
speaking
yeah,
of
we think
kids,
we talked
like
about
my
this.
goal in life is to be rich enough to adopt a little white girl. Like I just
a
want
little
to walk.
Madeline McCain.
No,
you
it's
know?
true. Like no, bro. I want to walk
Little
into
John
Walmart
Bonet
Little
Ramsey.
Chelsea
with
Hollywood.
this little fucking German bitch, blue eyes,
Chelsea
blonde hair.
Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Megan Hollywood. That's.
I just
Megan
want to be
Hollywood.
rich enough to
Megan
adopt
Hollywood.
Courtney Love, you know?
Oh
man.
yeah. No,
I'm
it's a
not-
fact.
I wanna be
Just
rich
for white
enough.
people to be like, is that your kid? I'm like, ask the little bitch who her daddy is
Let
right
me
now.
tell you
Ask her right now who her daddy is. That's how, like, see, most black people, they want to get rich, they want to buy chains and like fucking, you know, they want to get rims on their cars.
Yeah.
No, I want to adopt a little white girl so I can just walk
Nah,
into
fuck
Walmart
that. I
and
ain't
people be
adopting
like,
it.
yo,
Fuck
this
that.
nigga done they
Fuck
kidnap
that.
her. Do it.
Fuck
Call
that,
the
man.
cops.
Let me tell you
Call the
something.
cops.
There's a guy that comes to my gym. So I for who you don't know, I manage a gym for a living. There's a guy that comes into my gym. This old Italian
People can
guy.
tell, baby. Look at
You know what I'm saying?
Look at
Dog?
that
This
guy.
old
The
large
Italian guy.
motherfucker.
This guy is old, man. And every week, this guy comes in with a baddie, man. Every week. I haven't seen him in like 2 months. I seen him today. I was like, yo, where you been? He's like, oh, I broke my hip. I'm like, yeah, you broke your hip, eh?
I got a new one.
Okay
I got a new one.
there, Rico Suave.
Yeah.
Bro, every time this guy comes in, he's like, oh, this is my friend. She's from Colombia, you know. I'm like, damn, son, what kind of money are you walking around with?
I don't know,
'Cause
man.
you
I don't want to
know
be that
she's-
guy, though, man. I don't want to be that guy. Let me,
I do want to be that guy.
no, let me tell you
I
what
want
it
to
is.
be old and fucking just travel the world. Like, honestly, I've always wanted to just be a fucking wild guy. I met a girl and me and her doing really good. She's amazing. I would travel the world with her. I don't know if I want to have kids, man. I don't know. I just don't know.
No,
I don't
eventually
want to
this
have a
shit- no,
daughter in
trust
this
me.
age, Robbie.
Yeah.
Imagine the kind of shit that we have done to girls as boys.
Yeah, no.
Like,
That's, listen,
seriously, I have
Listen,
fucked
I don't
girls
believe in karma.
their
Karma is
parents'
for poor
beds,
people.
man.
I don't believe in
Like,
karma. Let me tell you
come to
something.
that realization
Karma
when it
is for poor
comes-
people. Let me tell you
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Good
No,
things
karma's
happen
for
to bad
everybody.
people every day. Good things happen to bad people every day. Let me
And
tell you
bad
something.
things happen to good people every day.
No,
That's a
let-
great
no,
fucking
let-
point.
no, let
That's
me-
a great point. I'm a dab
No,
on that one.
let me tell you something, right? Eventually, as a man, as a Homo sapien, all that you are put here for is to spread your genes and fuck off. That's your sole job.
fuck off.
And fuck off, straight up.
As
Like
a male,
eventually, like
yes.
listen, you can party your whole entire life, but eventually you get to a point where everything gets old. No, it's true, man. I want to be able, if I
me,
die
man-
tomorrow, I want to be able to leave, something that will carry my genetics through.
leave a
Like
mark.
we are
Thing is,
all,
look,
we are all
the only
predispositioned
reason-
for that.
The only reason I would have children because I am the first generation Nassar in Canada.
See,
None of my brothers have children, but here's
Exactly.
the thing: I need
What?
to make it.
So you need
I don't
slave
make
force.
it. My kids will have nothing. Just like I came here, I have nothing.
Right.
My parents ain't got shit. My
Yeah.
dad ain't got shit. I don't even have parents. I have a dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, it's rough. It's rough having to.
That
take
makes you
care
work
it's
of-
not
harder
that
than
it's cracked out to
hypothetical
be.
children.
Listen, my parents have been married for 32 years. It's not that it's
I
cracked
get
out
that.
to be.
I get that, but
You
Robbie,
know what I'm
like,
saying?
bro,
Like-
if I bring a child into this world,
Yeah.
I have to give him a better opportunity.
Of
than
course,
I had,
of
man.
course, that's-
I had to do some wild shit to survive, man. And now that I'm like, I look at the world in a different way because I've seen the world from different angles, man. And like, I have
true.
to
Bro,
put
here's
my
the-
kid in a position.
here's the
of
thing.
success.
You want to do the
That's true.
best thing you can for your kid. Don't hit them.
Yeah.
That's the
No,
best thing.
haram,
No,
no, you gotta beat your
listen.
children. Habibi,
Listen,
wallahi,
the
bro.
Bible says it. You spare the rod, you spoil the child.
If
No.
we
I'm not interested in any Jews or Jew worshippers giving
Oh,
me
there
advice on
he is.
anything to
Obviously,
do with morals.
There is our racist ghost.
Patty has
There is
never-
our racist
Patty,
ghost.
have you ever received an ass whooping from your parents?
Not an ass whooping, no.
Okay, that's why you're
See?
the way you are.
That is why. No.
Hold on.
It got you into
Have you
good places. in life.
have you been arrested?
Yes, I have.
Have you been arrested?
Several times.
I've never been arrested.
neither have
Johnny,
I.
have you
No,
been arrested?
No,
Your parents didn't beat you?
no.
Guys, beating your
White
kids gets them
privilege is
arrested.
real. Exactly. No. But let me tell you something. Okay,
Hey.
you know what? No, that's a good point. Let me
Hey,
tell you something.
that's
no,
a good
you know what?
point.
No, you know what?
It
You know what,
is.
Patty?
I
You make
give
a
it
good
up to you,
point. I'll
Patty.
tell you
Peaceful
why.
parenting is the way
No,
to go.
you know what? Let me
No,
tell
it's
you
not,
something.
man.
No, let
Fuck
me
that.
tell you something, Patty. You make a good point because honestly, I feel like the way my dad raised me made me very antagonistic when it comes to authority. Like, it really has done that.
The only thing hitting a kid teaches them is, first things first, it teaches them if you love someone and they don't do what you told them to do, fuck them up.
Yep.
No, it depends.
That
it depends.
raises, that is the number one
No, it-
reason
Nope.
guys
Correct.
beat
Patty,
up
I'm
women
sorry.
as adults
Let
is
me take
because
this.
moms beat them as
Let me take
kids.
this. I'm gonna prove you wrong, Patty.
Yeah.
I was beat by my mother
I will never touch a woman.
fucking brutally.
Yeah.
I have never laid a hand on a woman in my life,
That's
and
true.
I would never do that. I was raised much better than that.
Yeah,
Tell
it's
them why.
the
Tell them why.
exception, not the rule, though.
It's
Yeah,
not an
yeah.
exception,
It's not an
man,
exception.
because
It's
you
not.
It
No,
absolutely
no,
is.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
It
yeah.
absolutely
Let
is.
me tell you where the difference comes in. Okay,
it's
listen.
an-
I met some
My
kids
parents
that
were
got
tough. My parents were tough, but let me tell you something. I don't know anyone who loved their kids more than my dad does.
Let me tell you
My
something.
dad loves his fucking kids.
It's
But
not
let me
a
tell you
question
something,
of
though.
love.
No,
It's
no.
a question of that he
Daddy.
was raised wrong
He was
also.
exactly.
It has nothing to do
can
with
I
the way
get
you
it?
were raised.
Yeah, go ahead,
Beating
go
a
ahead.
woman is a conscious choice men make.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
a
it's
man-
developed because their
No,
mother's
no,
the person who's
no,
supposed to love them the
no,
most and be
no.
their protector,
No.
hits them. Yeah, Fatty,
If-
I understand
if
you have
your-
a difference of
if your
opinion,
mom
but
beats
I
you-
actually
I
know.
grew up in it, Patty. Like I'm
Yeah,
a guy.
Yeah, no,
that
it's
was
that's
it-
called anecdotal. I'm
Yeah,
talking about
yeah,
like the
it-
statistical sum of
Johnny,
what
go
we
ahead,
know.
go
What are
ahead.
the stats? What are the
Yeah,
stats? You got
yeah.
the stats?
Hold on, Johnny.
Yes,
Well,
that
well,
women
well, he
who hit
pulls
their
up the
kids.
stats.
It's not necessary.
Yeah, like you have to come around and look at it again.
You look at most.
The reason why your parents never beat you is not because they were special, it's because they go to jail for that shit here. Let me tell you something. Where we come from,
listen,
it's
man.
true. It's
no,
true.
Listen, I knew.
No, actually,
like,
Robert,
it is-
you got it in the reversal order. The reason it's illegal here is because the culture is different. It's why Canada and the United States and Western Europe doesn't look like Africa or the Middle East.
Well, you know what? Okay.
He's got
okay.
you there.
All right.
What
He's
you're
got
trying
it
to,
there.
what you're trying to do, and I get this. You have your parents and you love them, and this is not about hating your parents or hurting your parents or saying that your parents are especially evil or bad. However,
They were raised in that aspect. And
okay, exactly. So
Right.
this is how the culture develops.
Right.
Is you have people who are scared to fucking death of their children getting hurt. The only way you can really communicate with these kids, if you're like the general population, this is like throughout history, people are so dumb. They are not really equipped to raise children. It's so much more complicated than
it
people
really
think.
is.
Especially
It really
a
is.
young kid. Like yelling at young kids.
Especially within
fucks
the
them
first
up.
5 years. The
Exactly.
first
It's
5
basically
years
the
are
first
the
6 years.
developmental. Yeah, first
If you
6
hit
years.
the kid within the first 6 years,
They're-
he's going
but-
to have
but let me tell you something.
significant
Do you mind if I
trauma.
just, because
Just
yeah,
get-
yeah.
yeah,
Do you
go
mind if I
ahead,
just
go
get a
ahead,
quick
go ahead.
point in? Like
Go
he's,
ahead.
he's very right. It's the first 5 years that will determine whether or not they're going to be a fucking drug addict or God knows what else. But here's the point: even if your parents beat you, and you love them now, it's not like you loved them any less when that happened. Maybe you did in the moment, but here's again, it's anecdotal, so take it for what it is. But like, my mom always told me growing up, she's like, you know what? We always like make sure that you guys are fed, like me and my brother. You guys are fed, and you have a roof over your head.
You
and
only have
clothes
one
on your-
sibling?
Yeah, one sibling. She's like, you have roof over your head and clothes on your back and food in your stomach before we pay the TV, before we pay the car payment. And I always thought like,
You guys
wow.
leased your TV?
No. But no, like satellite. You're paying for satellite, right? She's like, I'd rather be like, fuck
LOL,
the TV,
LOL, Johnny,
fuck
Jesus.
the TV. I'm paying you for
Right.
food, right?
Right.
I always thought like, wow, that's such a great thing for a mom to do, right?
really
I
is.
love her for
Not
doing
a lot
that.
of people have that.
But that's her fucking job.
Yeah.
If
that's
you
literally all the
decide to
bare
have a
minimum.
kid,
That is
that
true.
is
Guys.
the bare minimum to
Chris
feed
Rock-
them and clothe them.
yeah.
Bare minimum.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's all about perspective, right?
Okay.
If your dad hits you and he's like, I
right.
did this because you did this, and I
Okay.
want you to learn from your mistakes, and you're like, okay, cool.
Let me ask you this now. Why are white kids the most disrespectful to their parents out of all the cultures?
That's
I'd answer that with
Answer
a
me that.
very simple, I think, more pressing question. Why is it kids who have been hit by their parents grow up to commit more crimes than the ones who haven't?
I don't think
It
that's
is
a,
factually
It's
true.
verifiable.
If we didn't
You're
hit kids
comparing
within
a lot
the-
of
Pause.
shit talking
I
and
know
rudeness
kids
to
that-
violent
Guys,
criminal acts.
I know kids that got the shit beaten out of them. My cousins, my siblings that are doctors, lawyers, big shots,
It depends. No, look.
Again, it's-
Okay,
it's
let me
hard to say. It's
jump in.
out of
It's anecdotal.
all the races, white kids are the most disrespectful to their parents.
Not necessarily.
Fuck you,
Not
man.
necessarily.
What's
No,
more
let me-
disrespectful?
but I-
let me-
telling your mom and dad to shut the fuck up, or becoming an adult and then murdering another
I
human
also
being?
think
Telling
the
your parents to
correlation.
shut the fuck
How
up.
is that not
Why
more
are all-
Okay, one at a time.
disrespectful to the work your parents put in raising you? It's like, oh yeah,
Okay.
by the way, I'll go
But
and
I think if you look at the
violently attack
stats,
another human being.
I don't think
let me
the stats are
answer. Let me
accurate on
answer.
that
Let me
one,
answer.
Daddy.
Black
I
kids
know.
are much
hold
more
on,
violent.
hold
They
on,
get
hold
hit
on,
by
hold on,
kids
just a
more often.
second.
That's not a
All right.
personal
Let me tell you
thing
something.
against
I just
Robbie,
like
obviously.
I've seen I've grown up in the Middle East. I fucking lived in refugee shelters, man. Dude, a lot of brown kids that get beat are super successful. Like how many brown people that are lawyers, doctors, real estate agents,
But I
big
think
money.
The
correlation does
disproportionate
not-
Hold on,
percentage
guys, hold on,
of
hold on. Let me
those
jump
kids were
in.
probably raised
No,
in
let me jump
parents
in
that
here for a
tended
second
towards peaceful parenting.
because you guys are you don't actually realize this, but you guys are actually agreeing to the same point. Let me tell you what the difference is, right? For example, my dad was very, very tough on me.
Yeah.
But he was not coming from a place
Of hate.
of just like hate or being a shit parent.
No, it's
Sure.
ignorance.
right?
It's
No,
ignorance.
it's not even ignorance. Let me tell you where it's coming from.
It's
Like,
ignorant of a better
that
way
is-
of
no,
raising kids.
no, look, hold on. Let me address this, Pat. Like, give me 2 seconds to kind of land this point, right? I remember a time when I was about 13 years old, and my dad came home, and some way, somehow, I decided to take all my sisters in a fight at once, right? He comes home, he whoops my ass, and I'll never forget this. Like, I can still see this in my mind when I close my eyes. I'm sitting on this fucking, like, brick for some reason, and after he just whooped my ass, and I'm crying, and I'm like, I swear to God, when I'm strong enough, I'll fucking murder you. Right? Like literally, like I remember saying that.
Exactly.
No, hold on. Let me land the point. I remember saying this out loud. But see, the more I grew up, the more I understand two things. One, all that you are is all that you could have ever been. Meaning that the way that he raised me is the only way that he knew how to raise a child. Two, let me tell you something. He wasn't doing it from a place of like violent. Like there is this show on Netflix right now about like this family in LA that fucking fucked up this 8-year-old boy, but we'll get to that later.
Oh, the Gabriel.
Yeah, Gabriel Fernandez. Like, see, that's why
that's
I
a
love Fadi.
horrible,
It's
horrible
fucked.
story.
It's
We'll go
fucked.
into it
But hold
after.
on. But let me land the point. The funny thing is now, I watch my dad, and my dad is a grandfather now, right? And he is a fucking teddy bear now.
How many siblings do you have, Robbie?
I have 3 sisters, right? I have 3 sisters, right?
They have children?
Yeah, they have their own children. Yeah. So like I watch him now, and sometimes at Christmas when I have like a bit of gin in me, I will call him out because I'm like, motherfucker, I wish we could fucking go right now. I'll be like, you know what, Dad? Do you remember when you did X, Y, and Z? This motherfucker has Alzheimer's. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Me? But also I remember being a shit kid. I committed my first act of fraud at 6 years old. At 6 years old, I remember like I failed the test and I jimmied my parents' fucking bedroom and stole a new notebook, wrote new answers and graded them myself, and then brought the notebook to my mom and be like, I aced the fucking test. She looks at it once, she sees my handwriting. You know that Sparta kick? You know that in the movie 300? This is Sparta. Sparta. So the matter of fact is like, as long as you make the child, like I will never go out that far.
Here's the thing.
Right.
Moving forwards, this is 2020.
Yeah.
Right.
We should stop hitting our fucking kids.
No,
I
we
get,
shouldn't,
No,
man.
no,
We shouldn't,
listen,
man.
because
A
I
good
honestly
dog
think
will
violate
straighten
your
the
kids,
fuck out,
but
man.
they need to be afraid of you. Your
Okay.
children need to be afraid of you.
Insanity,
That's horrible.
No, listen. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. We've been hitting our kids since the fucking Stone Ages, and nothing has changed.
look at-
if
look-
we
look-
stop hitting
pause,
our kids for
pause.
5
How
years,
many immigrant kids
Listen, let
have
me
you
just
seen
land-
shoot at
let
school?
Me, let me just land.
That's
It's
the
not-
point.
That's
not
it.
here.
That's the point.
It's not
You
the
think-
point.
Point blank period.
How
Not the
many
point.
school shooters got
How
Not the
many
point.
school shooters
It's
are
not the
immigrants?
point.
That
It's
is
not
the point.
No,
Yeah,
bro.
we can
no.
go through the statistics
There
again,
is
by the way. I'll
so-
explain to
Really?
you how the vast majority of what you got.
School shooters, like a kid
No,
walks into a
there is
school
so
and
much
school
more
and shoots.
involved.
That's called
in
a
that.
mass shooting at a school. And
How
actually,
many of those are black or
the
brown
majority
or
of them are
immigrants?
black, Robbie.
No,
We've been through this
they're
before.
not.
The
Listen.
majority
Oh,
of them
yeah,
are
we
gang
did go
shootings
through
where
this
they.
before.
Yes,
Gang
I'm telling
shooting.
you.
I'm
Did you
talking about a
watch?
kid.
Did you watch Everybody
But I'm-
Hates Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Chris Rock
there's
show, yeah.
fucking even in the show, there's like fucking things that they have to walk through to scan for fucking guns and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, that's
like,
the- that's the real
guns
thing in the
have been
States,
in
though.
urban schools for
No.
fucking decades.
forever.
Also
Guys,
count how
it's
many
like-
the death
So are you
toll
saying
of
that
white
white
schools.
schools are not-
The reason why white kids are plastered all over the media is because white people hold themselves as like the upper echelons of
Yeah,
society.
white liberals. That is
So,
that is
when
the
that happens-
paternalist
When is the last
racist.
time you heard of
Yeah.
a black kid
Like
walking
when
into a
somebody,
school and
when,
shooting?
listen,
your
when
kid
somebody
violates-
really good fucks up,
It's a
when
fact.
somebody really good fucks up, they get it extra hard, right? Can we all agree on that?
If what?
right?
Sorry, say that one
So
more
if
time.
somebody like who's genuinely like in society and they say they're
George
a
Bush
feminist,
called it the bigotry of lowered expectations. That is how the media treats blacks. That is how the media treats non-white violent people.
And
So
here's
you're
the
saying
thing,
that there is some black
here's the
kids shooting
thing.
schools that we're not hearing about? Is that what you're saying?
Here,
Is
no,
that
no,
what
no.
you're saying?
100%, it's so common.
Come on, Pat. You're a man of stats.
Robbie, just
How
give me
many-
a second, and I'll
Okay,
very
guys,
easily explain it to you.
Right.
1 second. I do believe what Patty's saying, that there are more diverse people shooting up schools.
Shooting us, walking in and
Because we need
shooting
more
classmates.
diversity in the school.
I lived in Detroit. I had guns pulled on me in fucking high school.
Yes,
And
and
the
I
vast
pulled
fucking
on
black
you.
kids, man.
Not a kid walking into a class and
But
shooting his
it
classmates.
doesn't matter.
That's an
Because he got
arbitrary
bullied.
distinction that you're making.
Guys,
Here's-
I agree with Patty on this, but I gotta tell you something. Like, bro, you need to beat your fucking kids.
No, listen. This is
No,
And
yeah,
Fatty,
so-
the
okay.
only reason you think
I-
that
not
is
as
because
strongly-
you can't get to the beginning place where you don't fuck the kid up in the first
Yeah.
place.
So how do you
You
parent
know what, you're
them?
right.
You
You're
send them
right.
up to their
I'll
room
send- I'll
to
send you
to
stuff
play
to them,
video
dude.
games or
No,
fucking jerk off?
I'll
You know
send
what,
you
no,
stuff on peaceful parenting.
no,
dude,
you
peaceful-
can explain. You
you're right.
can explain to a kid
You can talk to them.
exactly
Yeah,
that.
you know-
Exactly.
no, what, no, you guys
don't
don't-
need
listen,
to scream
listen,
at them
here's
and
the thing.
I
intimidate them
I
and
agree
hit
with you
them.
guys, because let me tell you something. For a matter of fact, myself as an example,
I guarantee you won't hit your kid.
No, I would not. I would
I
not. There is
guarantee
no
you
fucking
won't.
way.
No, Robbie's
Because-
gonna be
no,
a
but you know
great
what? You know,
fucking dad.
you know the
This guy's
difference.
gonna
That's
be
what
a
I
good
mean.
dude,
I've
man.
met him.
Yeah.
I've shaken his hand.
Yeah,
I can
man.
tell
He's a
you.
good fucking
yeah.
dude, man.
I
The
will never
thought
put
will
my hands on
come
my
in your
kid.
head.
Yeah.
The thought will come in your head.
I
You'll
will
feel
never.
sick, and then you'll
Yeah.
think, if anyone does that to
If
my
anyone
kid,
touches
You're
my
right.
kid,
You're
they
right.
would.
You know,
Yeah.
listen,
That's
listen.
where- yeah.
I will never, listen.
I
I
know.
will never put my hands on my child. That will never happen. But because also though, here's the
say
thing. I was also exposed to something that is very different from what my parents were exposed
Of course.
to. You know what I'm saying?
But also,
'Cause see, all that you
statistically,
are-
men who were given what do they call it? Violent discipline as kids, they hit their kids less. Women,
You know why,
who
though?
were abused as kids in a
Right.
disciplinary faction, hit their kids more.
You
This
know-
is
yes.
absolutely
Yep.
a
You're right.
mom's
That's a fact.
No, but see-
issue before.
but
the
see,
I
let me
believe
tell you
that.
why. Let me tell you why. Personally, for me, that's the thing. Is because I'm gonna
that's a
tell
good
you something. I don't like. I wish I had a friend relationship with my father. To this day, when I go home, right? Like my dad, like I love him to fucking death. But I can never go to him and be like, oh, dad, by the way, I'm dealing with this and this and this and that. Like, we don't have that kind of relationship.
I was incredibly
Like,
lucky that before my
you know what I'm
dad
saying?
died, I did have that. He was.
Yeah.
And you say
see,
like they
I
were.
would
your-
love,
Yeah, I
like, see,
know.
my
and
dad
that's what
was
scares
genuinely
me.
my best friend.
That's what scares me. Because I'm like, yo, what if my dad passes tomorrow? Is this going to be one of those things that fucking weighs on me for the rest of my life?
You gotta
Because
fix
I'm like,
that.
yo,
You gotta
like,
fix
I
that.
have to.
Guys,
I
Guys,
have
let
to.
me
badly.
just put this
Badly.
point out there. Now that
Yeah.
we're talking about fathers,
Right.
Me and my dad had one of the worst relationships because I was a bad fucking kid, man. I was the kid coming home fucking drunk.
So we
high.
deserve it.
Just give me a second. Bringing these bitches home, like, bro, I had guns in my house. I had weed, crack. My dad found my stash and brought it out. And he's like,
You had
"Fadi."
his house raided.
Bro, my dad's house got raided by fucking homicide detectives, man. My life.
You didn't
is-
get whooped
bro,
enough.
I
That's
gotta
the
tell you
problem.
something. That night, we got raided at 4:30 in the morning on Family Day. On
God
fucking
damn.
Family Day.
Of all days.
Go to fucking jail. They kept me overnight. The next day we go to court. I show up to court. Who's in the courtroom? My dad.
God damn.
Bro, me and my dad have the closest fucking relationship. Because let me tell you something. Does it beat your kids or not? Be there for your fucking children.
Exactly, that's
Because at
the
the end of the day, bro, this whole give your kids, let them fucking believe whatever they want to believe is fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I agree
You
with
need
that.
to
That's all
But
I'm
he
saying.
didn't show up because
Kids,
of that,
what's
though.
wrong
because,
and
see,
what's
you have to understand,
fucking
your
right. I'm
dad
sorry,
loves you
guys.
Can I land-
unconditionally.
But you don't have to
Guys, let me
enforce
just
it
finish.
violently.
Let me just
Go,
finish
go,
my
go,
point.
go,
You
go,
don't
go.
have to enforce it violently. You're absolutely correct. For example, I'm gonna just put it out there. If my kid came up to me and said he was gay, I'm not gonna fucking beat him. That's fucking crazy.
No, that's
that's
a
insane.
waste of time.
You know, and I would support him and
Let his
figure out
boyfriend
what's
beat
going
him.
on. But at the end of the
I would beat his
Johnny,
boyfriend,
just
that's
let
all.
me put this point out, man.
Sorry,
At the
get
end
out
of the day,
myself.
bro, you need to support your kid.
Yes.
You need
Yeah.
to be there for your kid. But if your kid thinks something is right, is horribly wrong, and you know this is wrong, you have to tell him. My dad knows whenever I was fucking up, my dad is like, dude, you're fucking lying to me right now. I'll be like, yeah, dad, I'm gonna do construction in Belleville. He's looking at me like, no, you're not. You don't
You're
have
selling
any construction.
cocaine, nigga. That's
You have no construction gear at all. I have not seen one fucking drop of fucking
How you gonna
concrete.
go do construction in Gucci shoes? Nigga?
Dog,
You got
Coke
Gucci
you know
shoes.
what I'm
Big
saying?
Apple.
At
You
the, end,
got
at the end of the
Gucci.
day, bro, just be a good dad. Be
Yeah.
beat or no.
Let me-
I don't believe
Honestly,
in
man, like,
beating your children, but I do believe in installing the values and the morals into your
Of
fucking
course.
children.
Can I tell you
You
guys
have
something?
to teach your kids what's
course.
wrong and what's right. You can't just let
Yeah,
them
of
fucking make a
course.
decision
Of
at
course.
12 years
Can I-
old,
But you
Can I
need
tell
to
you
do
guys
that
something?
with your words.
Can I tell you guys something? Like here is how I know I am destined to be a great dad. I've never said this in public, but 5 years ago I got a partial vasectomy.
Bomba clot, yo.
Partial?
Partial
This one
vasectomy.
came
It's
through
true.
the books.
Straight up. Let me tell you.
I get a
Let me tell you what it is. Okay. I love busting them bitches. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a
Christ,
big fan of shooting up the club. If you want, like, for lack of a better word, right?
Busted in bitches.
Right? No, but like, see, here's the thing though. I started getting accused of children who were not mine. So I got a partial
Were they
vasectomy.
actually not
Classic
yours,
black
though?
ting.
Right?
Do you
I
have
know.
proof that they were not yours?
Oh
bro?
yeah. Trust me, bro. I went through the whole process, the paperwork. Like, it's called.
I got my sperm on file.
This guy's got
Listen.
the sperm off.
It's called It's called a prenatal paternity test. You can actually they draw blood from the womb before the kid is born, and they can actually test it.
If he's gonna be retarded or not?
No. They can check the DNA to see if it's your child. You can have a
And to
prenatal
see if he's gonna
paternity
be
test.
retarded or not.
3 times I got accused of a kid that wasn't
Wow.
mine,
And
I was
you
like, you
weren't
know what,
on Maury.
bro? But see, here's the problem though. You have to fucking pay for that shit. You have to go
Oh,
to court, all this other
God.
shit. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this. No, hear me out.
Where
Let me learn the point. Let me learn the point. So eventually I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get a partial vasectomy. I got my dick sliced. And that shit was tight because a partial vasectomy can be reversed. Right? But then they tell you, it's a 98 percentile surety. And
2% got through.
2% got through, and I got my lady pregnant. And I'm like,
Robbie?
you know what? This is God. This is God.
This is
Roby
God saying it's
Hollywood?
time to chill out.
In the case of Ashton Hollywood, you are the father. You are the father.
Without a doubt.
You are the
Without
father.
a doubt.
I'm good, I'm
And you
good.
know what, though? Let me tell you something, though. You know why I'm happy is because in life you can, like, there is 2 things that you look for when you're going to have a child. Timing and the right person. Right? Timing maybe wasn't right, but I am so happy that I got my lady pregnant,
man,
though.
bro.
Because
You
I
and
know,
your
bro,
girl
like,
are
listen.
dope.
Oh, my God, bro.
I
She's
fucking
going
love
to
your
be
girl,
such
man.
a great fucking
Bro,
mom.
So
your
nice.
girl
Oh,
is fucking
my
dope,
fucking
man.
God,
Very
bro.
nice.
Like, see,
She
like,
showed
to
us
me,
so much
I'm
love. Gonna get
so...
married?
Huh?
You gonna get married?
Oh, eventually. Fucking A.
You
Fucking
got
A.
it.
Without a
Robbie
doubt.
almost fucked
Without a
around
doubt.
and asked his girl to marry him.
You wanna
But we're not animals.
guarantee your kid won't be poor. Marry the mom. Make sure he goes to high
You
school
know why?
and stop him from breaking the law
You know
before
why?
he's 18. He'll
You know
be
what?
fine.
That'd be
Let
great.
me tell you something.
You'd be CEO.
See, not only that. Like, see, most people would say, like, oh, I will marry the girl because I have a child with her. For me, it's beyond that. Like, she is like, you know what gets me excited about her is the fact that if I passed away today, I know my child will be okay. Because my girl is a hustler
around.
and she's a fucking gangster. So I know
And
that
she's a
kid is
lady.
gonna, and she's a lady. You see what I'm
that out
saying?
there.
She's a
So, like, yo, she is a prime example that great things happen to bad people every day. I do not deserve
can I land
her.
2 points
I
to the
don't
previous
deserve her
thing?
You
at
can,
all.
But once you land
know what I'm
those
saying?
points, I want to talk about that thing.
Oh
man.
yeah, that story. Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to go back to like the whole like white school shooter versus like diverse.
Johnny, white
Johnny
people
is
shoot
like,
up
you know what?
schools. Okay,
I'm not
that is
gonna
your
let you sully
stereotype.
my people.
Own
I
it.
have a
Own
theory
the
though.
stereotype,
I own
okay?
it, but I have a theory. I have a theory of why white people are able to kill more people than black people. It's not because they're better at everything else, but
Because they play
They have
Fortnite.
softer hands on
no,
the
it's
trigger.
because of
they got
ra-
softer hands on the trigger.
Hey,
They
it's because of racial profiling. You go to an all-black school, there's a fucking metal detector when you walk
Yeah.
through the doors.
Yeah.
You go to any white school, they're like, "Hey, Charles, how's it going?" He's like, "Oh, nothing, just going to get my
So
samurai
you're saying
sword."
don't send your kids to a Montessori
No.
school? Is that what you're saying? Like,
That's
fuck the
exactly
fuck
what
that
I'm saying.
There's
Montessori bullshit.
almost no mass shootings at private schools.
Yeah,
I gotta
The
say
only
something.
mass shooting
yeah.
at a private school
Guys,
is again
last
more
thing-
similar to a
Because
regular school
rich
shootings with
people
gangsters.
civilize
One
their
last-
children.
one
It's
last
hard
thing.
to feel bullied when you roll up to school in a Rolls Royce.
give
Yeah,
Johnny-
people
give-
get
give
rich
Johnny the
because
mic.
they tend to be better people. Better people tend
Rich
to
people are
raise
better
their
people. That's why I'm in this business. That is right.
Johnny.
My other point is I genuinely think that, and it's a theory, you can call it a theory, but I think that if every parent right now, every person that had a child right now didn't beat their kids for the next 5 years, for the next 5 years, every generation that has children that doesn't beat their kids, I almost could guarantee that we would have little to no wars.
You know what? Let me tell you
at
something.
least a big reduction in domestic
Picture the
crime.
Skittles aisle at Metro. Okay, all these unbeaten kids
Let me make
out
you-
here
let me-
trying
let
to
me-
be like, mommy.
No, let me give
Mommy,
you guys the reality.
Mommy,
of,
Skittles.
You're like, you
Guys.
should be in the trenches.
Let me get this one point out, okay? So, like, I've lived in Jordan, I've lived in Detroit, I've lived in Scarborough, I've lived in Toronto. Let me tell you something.
All the war zones.
I know. All the war
Guys.
zones.
People
You're a
at the
piece of
end
shit.
of
I
the
love it.
fucking day are a product of their environment.
That is true. That
Okay?
is true.
So
Yeah.
for
That
me,
is true.
man,
There's a
I
lot
was
of
a
it.
when I
That is
came
a
to the
lot of it.
States, I was a straight A student, bro. I used to go to class on time. I was a fucking nerd. I got bullied so fucking bad that I went home. I fucking took a lock, tied it to a fucking bandana, went back to school and beat the living shit out of this kid.
Out of the
I
I
beat
almost
this
stabbed the
kid
kid in
so
high school.
fucking bad. This kid almost fucking died. And
Good on you.
I got
Statute of
Good on
arrested.
you.
limitations?
I got arrested for that, and because I was like fucking like 13.
Oh,
Like
Jesus.
I don't know what even happened. I got through it,
yeah,
bro. You know.
Oh, man.
At the end of the day, guys, you are a product of your environment. Be
Oh,
your
yeah.
That is
kids,
true.
don't
That
be your
is-
kids. Make your decisions. But at the end of the day,
Anyways, fuck them kids. Let's
whatever,
move on.
whatever you expose
Mm.
people to, if you were to take a kid and put him in Hawaii, he's gonna be a fucking surfer, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Whatever
bro.
you expose your child to is what he's gonna want to fucking pursue
Yeah, bro.
Yes, sir.
and fucking understand. And that's the end of that.
Yes, sir.
So,
you know what?
yeah,
Our communist daughter is gonna be okay.
Our
Let's
communist
move
daughter
on.
is a fucking
Let's
communist,
move
Robbie.
on.
We didn't
Let's
do
move on.
good.
She's
Guys,
a communist.
guys,
Fine.
Yo,
Yeah,
Johnny
so-
has a
move
good
on.
fucking story for us.
You know what?
sorry,
No, Johnny, Johnny's
before-
story is a jam.
No,
We will save that for
no,
like a little
I've
bit
been
from now.
waiting 24 hours to
Really?
hear this because he wouldn't tell it to me yesterday.
Okay.
So I gotta hear this. Johnny,
you tease you.
you
You
have the
tease
mic.
you.
So
You
I
teasing
do-
slut.
Okay, I do a comedy show, and there's one before that one, and the comics are kind of like talking and stuff afterwards. They're hanging out, and this middle-aged woman, she's got to be like in her 40s. She's drunk.
Name her. Name her.
I don't know
goddamn.
her. I don't know her. She's an audience member, right? So the comics that were from the previous show was behind me, and they're talking, and this audience member from the first show comes up to one of the comedians who literally like 10 minutes ago I overheard her saying like, oh, I had such a bad set, it went so bad, I didn't like it, and then this joke didn't work, and she's going on, and I'm like, okay, well, let her, like, whatever, everybody has those nights, it's fine. This lady who's like drunk on fucking red wine comes up to her and she's like, ladies, oh my god, I loved your... And that's all she could get out before the chick who was complaining about her set goes, actually, I'm non-binary. I was like, take...
Shit, this bitch got a dick.
Racist ghost.
No,
For
man.
the Grammy.
Guys, let me hear this.
One
So
more
what?
time.
Okay.
Keep going.
All I'm saying is take the fucking compliment. Why do you have to do that?
Listen.
Why do you have
Okay.
to do that? I
Let me-
get it's your personality, but the only time in my mind that would be appropriate is if, say, you're at a comedy show and you're a comedian that's non-binary. That's fine. I'm not saying it's not
you.
fine. Good for you for knowing who the fuck you are. But the only time that this would come in handy to say something like that is if you're talking to the host. Hey,
Yeah.
don't say this next lady is so funny. Don't say that. Just bring me up. It's fine.
One thing.
But
Let
to
me
an
go in
audience
first. Let me
member,
go in first. Can I get
to
first?
a
Can I-
fucking white woman from Rosedale who
Okay.
watched a fucking show.
Let me
Shut
go.
the fuck up.
No, let me go in first. First of all, okay. If you are a shit I've never had to apologize for my set.
Robbie,
Okay.
We're not talking about shit.
This
comics, we're
comedy
comics.
shit, we are all
We're talking
amazing
about a
comedians.
human-to-human
yes,
interaction.
human to human communication.
How is this lady supposed to know you're not
okay,
non-binary?
no.
How
Hold
the
on.
fuck?
I'm
hold on,
sorry.
listen,
She
listen.
saw you. She saw
If
tits.
you are-
and
if
she's
you-
like,
no,
hey,
hold on,
you have
Fatty.
boobs. You're a woman.
Fatty, hold on a second.
And
hold
she was
on a second.
addressing a group of women.
Let me go in first. I have one rule of thumb that I live by. One, the audience is king.
Yep.
No.
The
the audience is trash.
Audience doesn't know shit.
audience is a bunch of
Listen.
fucking losers.
No,
The
Audience
the-
is the
let me let-
reason
let me
we
let my
do
point.
comedy.
Let
'Cause
me
if we
let my
had no
point.
Audience are
audience, we
marks
have
on
no
the
show.
midway.
Hold on, Patty. Let me land my point. Listen, if you are a comedian, your job is to walk into a room and figure out what is going to make these people laugh?
No.
No. Listen. No.
it is not.
Listen.
What is your job?
What's the
You're the one that
secret
make
to
the
being a
prize
bad
money?
comedian?
Stop.
No,
stop.
what
No.
makes them a
Listen.
fucking? What makes them in charge of what's funny?
They are
Why
in
is that
charge
up
of
to-
what's funny because
Fuck
that is your job.
No.
Listen,
no,
John-
your
No, as a
job is to
comedian, your job is
defend
not
your
to walk
points.
in lockstep with the fucking mob.
Not with the mob. Not with the mob.
God.
Listen.
That's what they are. They're sheep.
No.
The
Yes.
second you
Listen.
fuck up,
Buddy.
that crowd will turn on you.
No,
but if
then
you
that's
are a
on you.
good
Then you're
no,
shit.
No,
Then you're listen. Let me tell you something, bro.
I want you to express
Good
a
comedians would
dangerous
disagree
idea.
with you.
Let me tell you something. Your job as a professional comedian is to walk into a room and make the people in front of you laugh. Now, some people laugh to different things. The better you are at your job, the more you can walk into a room and figure out of my arsenal what is going to make these people laugh. That is your job.
And
never blame the crowd. It's never the crowd's fault.
Here's what makes
your
a
job
legend,
is
though.
to make the
quick
audience
You're
laugh.
too young
It's
in the game.
No, man.
Guys,
Listen, bro.
I'm
I've been in this game for
Fadi's-
10 years.
Fadi's got his hand up.
If
Fadi's
you
got
are
his hand up.
if you are blaming the crowd, you ain't shit.
Guys,
I'll let my comedian friends know.
I just want to make a quick point, okay? Let's just move comedy out of the way, okay? Let's talk about human interaction, okay?
Okay.
At the end of the day, you had a woman that paid money to come inside
To see you.
sit down and watch you do your thing.
Even if she wasn't, just to
Comes
watch
up
a
to you
comedy
to
show.
compliment you. She came up to you to say, "Hey, you did good. I really
loved
enjoyed
it.
that." And the way she's, "Hey, ladies," if I saw a group of girls standing there, I'm gonna go up and say, "Hey, ladies, how are you?" If I saw a group of trannies standing there, I'm gonna go up and say, "Hi, ladies," because I know they identify as females. But I don't know that you identify as non-binary, and for you to be that rude about it is fucking bullshit.
And
man.
here's the thing.
And you should educate.
But
this
why
thing.
was she rude about it?
guys,
She
you
was
should-
rude about
you
it
should
because
take-
she was trash on stage.
you should take
That's
one
what
second.
happened.
No.
You should take one. Proper response would like, "Thank you so much, but actually, I identify as non-binary."
That should be the last thing out of her
You should have been
mouth.
like, "What? Whoa, no, I'm non-binary."
Because what happened next,
Because now,
like, to
now
finish the
you
story,
make yourself look like a fucking asshole,
Yep.
man.
And
You don't
that's
need
what
to be rude
happened.
about this. We
That's what happened.
respect your choice. She didn't know you were
I don't
non-binary.
respect the choice. It's like saying, "Excuse me,
Okay,
I don't
Patty.
believe in a round Earth."
Jesus
It's
Christ.
the same dumb
Patty,
shit.
I'm not even starting this argument. We don't have enough time.
Even if she did believe that, though, here's the problem: is
How did she
a
know?
compliment, though.
It's a compliment. You did good.
I
She-
listened to it and I tried so hard not to laugh. You have no idea how hard it was for me to keep this inside because this poor fucking lady, she went from wanting to compliment this girl, paying her bill and fucking going home, to like, well, actually, I
how is she
I
supposed to
identify
know?
as
I'm
she
sorry,
and
but how
her.
is she supposed to know?
She's
point.
now like identifying
Johnny.
herself, and I'm
Johnny,
like, what is going on?
That is the point that I'm making. Why is it that she felt the need to address how she gets identified? Is because you knew you fucked up on stage. You knew you
No,
were trash.
it had nothing
and
to
now,
do with that.
Yes,
Hold
of
on.
course.
No,
That's
it's
okay.
alphabet mafia mentality.
Okay, so listen,
What
listen.
happened?
I was there.
Your
so
job-
you can't
Okay,
speak on it.
yeah.
She had a great set.
Set.
She's just non-binary, and that's her identity. So
get
when
that.
someone,
Oh, okay. So
so when
let me
someone-
like okay. So
Yeah,
let me kind of like
It was a
so-
black joke
So you
that
telling
she,
me
like,
like
didn't-
what? She killed.
she did well,
Did
and
she
then
kill though?
I didn't see her set. Everybody else said she did really well,
Yeah.
and
Right.
everybody was, and there were people that I respected that
Right.
said you did well.
So then somebody
she was
came
worried about
and
once-
complimented her.
Yes, and said you did a very good
job.
set. But because
But
she
before
said
she could even say
ladies
it.
to the two ladies that were on the show, like, ladies, you did great, because the one
So
lady
what, it
was a
three-
lady,
it
so
was-
she
it
shut
was
the fuck
three
up and
girls
said
standing
thank you.
together?
It was like two girls standing together, and she
And
just
the
said,
one girl was
ladies,
non-binary.
you were great.
Now you understand why you should beat your kids. This child was not beaten
Hey.
enough. This is really what the problem is.
No, they shouldn't have
This
had the
child-
kids in the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
place.
This child was not beaten
Jesus
enough.
Christ.
Like, listen, bro, listen. To me, man, like, listen.
No,
as a
man.
comic, let me tell you
Fuck
something.
that. Hold on.
To me-
Before you say it, let me say this,
Right.
okay? I don't have anything against the LGBTQ plus community, right? But at the end of the day, bro, how was she supposed to know that you identified as a non-binary.
Yeah, there
You're
needs
not
to be.
This
supposed
is a
to know.
person that came and paid money, saw you on
Yeah.
stage, had a good night, and was about to be like, "Yo, I like your shit, girl. Good job.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome."
No, but you know why
You
that
just-
is? It's
all
because
you
she
had
does
to
not
do
believe
is,
that she
is,
did
is
well.
say thank you,
That is no.
and
listen.
then say, "Just so you know, I identify as non-binary," and that leader
Exactly.
been like, "I'm sorry, I will address you as that from now on," and that's fucking cool. There's nothing wrong with that. It's 2020. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Fatty,
Like,
here's
when
somebody
somebody
here's
Don't
what
you
you
be a fucking asshole.
No, but
Yeah.
here's
That's like
what you're
someone
not
coming
getting.
up to me.
No, hold on. What you guys are not getting is this. She or he or it, whatever. Like
It's not.
I'm not gonna. No. Okay, you know what? I don't want to get canceled.
go.
No,
Rob,
no,
you're
no.
gonna get
Shut up! You're
No,
not
no.
taking any fucking
I know.
risks.
Only
Shut the fuck
only
up.
only
this
our
podcast.
communist daughter can make those jokes. But
There's
see,
6
here we go. But see, here's the thing
listeners.
though. See, to me, if I killed on stage,
Uh-huh.
I don't care if somebody comes out to me and they're like, you know, as a black woman comic, I think you did really well. If I murdered, I'm not gonna try to address that. Cause see, to me, like I feel like there's a certain level of insecurity that is buried deep that you had to hit her back. That
It's
is a
not comedy
genuine
related.
compliment.
It's alphabet mafia
No, man,
related.
it's not even about guys.
You
But, like,
think
what
people
is
who aren't in
alphabet mafia,
entertainment,
though?
All points aside,
people who are
Alphabet
in
Mafia,
entertainment do react the exact same way.
Yeah.
In public conversations between civilians,
Yeah.
that happens. The entertainment
Yeah.
thing has nothing
Yeah.
to do with it.
Yeah.
That's her
I
alphabet
think it does,
mafia
though, man.
shit.
I think it does a little bit. Because I'll tell you one thing, right? Do you remember the show at the General?
Yeah.
There is a guy that was wearing a Confederate hat. A Confederate hat in the show.
And the crowd.
I'm headlining, right?
That's
so I
smashing.
could have went.
Fucking smashing.
I could have fucking like lost my shit. Oh,
You
how
did call him
dare
out,
you?
though.
But
Why the fuck? I
this
called
goes
him out
back.
on it, but the way that I did it
Yeah.
was
It was
like
pretty cool.
What's the
fucking-
call out?
Are you a big
So
Dukes
he-
of Hazzard
so-
fan?
I could have been like, oh my god, I can't
'cause
believe you fucking
Robbie,
wearing a
Robbie
fucking...
made a joke about something about black people, and the guy goes, "Yeah, black man," and the guy goes, "Yeah, the fucking guy with Confederate hat to say that."
Right?
on, right?
But I could have been like fucking like wancy pantsy about it, right?
man.
Yeah,
but
be a
see, the
little
matter
bitch.
of fact is like, no. You know what it is? I believe in my talent to a way that I know I can bring that guy in. I don't take that thing.
You're projecting
fucking
that
seriously.
onto her.
No.
It's
Listen.
not going through her head. She's
Oh, of
going
course.
through her
How am I-
alphabet
how am
mafia
I
thing of like,
how am I projecting
oh,
this?
you just fucking
No.
microaggressed
Okay.
me.
All I'm
listen,
saying is-
listen. Somebody wearing a Confederate hat is the equivalent of somebody misgendering. Like, if I see somebody on my show,
No.
what do you mean?
One of them is a troll taking a risk that they're gonna get beat the fuck up. The other one is a
Yeah.
crybaby claiming victim
Yeah.
status.
I just want to put this out
Nah.
there. At the end of the day, doesn't matter what you identify as, man. That is cool.
Hit the
2020, good for you. At the end of the day, man,
I
just
don't agree with
don't
any of that.
Be, Patty.
Of
I'm not,
course you
guys.
don't, you
Guys,
racist
let
ghost.
me land this
You
fucking
racist
point.
Let him
ghost.
go. Let him go.
Let me land this point. Patty, I don't care if you don't agree or not, man. I'm sorry. I don't. But at the end of the day, man, just don't be a fucking asshole about it. This is a person that complimented your fucking hard work that you how long have you worked to get your set together? You worked so hard to get your set together.
Get on that
You
show.
finally get on, you deliver a fucking great set, and you fucking piss off an audience member? What is wrong with you?
That's why the
but
alphabet
you get
mafia
it, you-
shows
but-
fail. Is they're already like a crutch as far as comedy that they've like narrowed their window of discussion so much, but they also tend to be shitty and standoffish with all the people who are not alphabet mafia open micers.
No, that's not true. Because you know what? I have a lot of friends that are homosexual. I have friends that are queer, that are gay, and they're fucking awesome, man. I have nothing against them.
That doesn't address
Nobody
anything
thinks
I
you
just
do,
said.
No,
Fatty.
no, I'm not-
The way that you're doing it, it's like, yo, I want to make sure that you
No,
guys know.
I'm not letting.
I got black
no,
friends.
I'm putting it out there. No,
See,
I'm
that's
not.
what
That's
Patty-
not the
that's
point.
what Patty tells
what I'm
people, he's
saying
like,
is,
gay, I'm
what I'm
promise
saying
you
is,
I got black
guys,
friends.
what I'm saying is, I know a lot of gay people that are cool as fuck, man. They're cool as shit.
They're
They don't come
anecdotal.
to you. Just so you know, I suck dick. It's
But
like,
it's
no, that's not the
anecdotal.
fucking point.
You're
That is
talking
not
about
And
the
the
point.
exception, not the rule.
That is
That's
not the.
JJ. That's just JJ.
Oh
Okay.
man,
JJ
Yes.
is the perfect
Yes,
example.
he is the perfect example. But you know
those
what?
of
You know
you-
why I
for
love
those of you who don't know what
JJ
we're
is
talking
because
about.
look, see, to me,
They don't know who
if you're
JJ
gonna be
is.
you, no, J.
They don't know who we're talking like
JJ
everybody
Lieberman.
knows. But yeah, but
Anyways, if you don't know JJ Lieberman, go fuck
shit.
yourself. You don't watch comedy. This
Yeah,
guy's
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
awesome.
this guy's
Watch
like,
JJ.
This guy's
Look
is
up
fucking
JJ
awesome.
Lieberman.
He's fucking dope.
fucking
But
gem.
see, here's
I've
the
seen
thing.
better.
Here's
He'll
Of
take
course
offense
you
to
have,
that.
Patty.
you know what?
You've
You know what?
seen
You know what,
everything.
Patty? Listen. everybody thinks you're this little girl over here. This motherfucker knows who you
Patty,
are.
guys.
Don't
Patty
get
is
shot.
Wilson from
Don't get
Home
shot.
Improvement.
He's not as jacked as he used to be, which kind of scares me because I think he has a terrible cocaine habit nowadays. But whatever.
JJ's my neighbor.
I know. But like, see, listen. To me, if you're gonna be you unapologetically. That is the thing. Be you unapologetically. When you need other people to validate who you are,
that's what that is.
This proves,
but see,
though,
to me,
your earlier
that
point
shows
about
me that you
audiences
don't
being
trust.
right.
No, hold on. See, to me, that shows me that you don't trust in your comedy. You
Bro,
don't think
they don't trust in
you're as good
anything.
as you are.
They can't tell what's real and what's
I'm
not.
talking about like that girl or whatever.
So am I.
Like,
So am I.
You know
If
what I'm
she
saying?
says things like, I identify as
Yeah, so
non-binary,
you don't think you're that
she has
good.
a significant mental impairment.
There is something there is something there that is unspoken, and therefore you're not destined for our world, bro.
and you
you're not
just
destined for our world.
lost-
Because see, to me, my job, I don't give a fuck. Confederate flag. You can show up fucking like, with the whip.
He laughed and
with
he
the whip
shook your
and
hand
the-
after.
Exactly. He
And
shook-
had a great talk
Bro,
with you
this
after.
This guy pulled me to the side
Yeah,
after.
he was like,
He's like,
"Oh,
yo,
you're
bro, let me
fucking
tell you
hilarious."
something.
Have you heard about
I
the guy?
swear to God. Huh?
Have you heard about the guy that I can't think of his name, the black
but
guy,
the guy-
black
the
guy
guy
that was
with the-
on Rogan's podcast that literally like converted Ku Klux Klan members? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Real talk.
That movie they made
it wasn't.
recently.
It wasn't based on him though.
it
This
Klansman?
was a different
Yeah, it
guy.
is, it is.
Klansman?
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 No, so
It is based on him?
Skin, the movie that came out with Jamie Bell, who is a
Oh.
famous skinhead who
I
got
haven't
the
seen that yet. I gotta watch that tonight.
first major facial tattoo removal. So he was like a famous skinhead
I've
son
heard
of the
about
famous
that, but I
skinhead.
haven't seen that movie. No.
The black guy who was on Rogan comes from that town and
Wow.
had known
What's this
that
guy's name? We
guy
gotta
since he
figure
was
it
a
out.
little kid. I'd have to go on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
computer.
We'll get it up. We'll get it up.
The point I'm trying to make here is at the end of the day is like, bro, just fucking don't be a dick.
No. It's
That
not
is the
about
point
being a
here.
dick.
That's the
Be
point
so
back
confident.
to you,
But
Johnny.
see,
Don't be a dick.
Bro.
If you're good at what you do, that's great. Yo,
Listen,
we
that
went
was
to
my point
fucking, we
on
went
that.
to what is it, Norman? Was it Mark Norman?
Mark Norman.
We went to Mark Norman's show. This guy fucking went, smashed an hour at fucking Grand Gerard, smashed the whole fucking hour.
Three
Stood
of
at
them.
3 shows back to back to back. Stood at the door and shook every single
Took a photo
fucking
with
person's
every
hand.
single
Took
person.
pictures. Fucking
He
the most
messaged me
humble
on
human being.
Instagram.
No, but see,
Don't
Fadi,
message him on
fucking-
Instagram. Don't
yeah,
be a
like-
fucking asshole, man. I'm sorry. I don't care what you identify as. Good for you. Don't be a dick.
No, but see, here's the point that I'm trying to make. That guy, like, remember what, like, before I went up on stage, we were having a cigarette outside,
Yeah.
and he was out there too. You see what I'm saying? You remember that? He was out there. No, the guy with the Confederate hat at the show at the Grand Gerard.
Yeah.
But see, here's the thing. To
Wait,
me,
the Grand Gerard.
I knew that, like, see, to me, like, I knew that the moment I walk on stage, my job, this guy is part of the audience member, right? He paid his money to see me, right? I will do my job.
So back to
my
my
job,
earlier
and,
point.
And no, but see, hold on, let me finish.
we're
At the
talking
end,
about
at the end
2
of the show,
points here, man.
right? No, hold on. But at the end of the show, what happened? He
shook
came
your
to
hand.
me and he's like, yo, bro, I swear to
course.
God, I wore the hat because I like the colors. I don't believe it because
Whatever is
you know what I'm
reasonable.
saying? Like
But that's not the
whatever
point,
it is. But see,
Robbie.
the
The
matter of
point
fact,
is
the
not
matter
the
of fact
audience.
is, I could have gotten triggered. I could have gotten triggered about that and just made it
But
this
that's-
fucking weird.
Like you're
fucking
proving
thing.
my point that that's
Yeah.
what a professional comedian does. Is he doesn't care if
Exactly.
there's someone in the audience wearing a
Exactly.
fucking MAGA hat. He's gonna make
Exactly.
I'm
everyone
gonna make you
laugh.
laugh. I'm
Exactly.
gonna convince
Fuck
you to
what
come
they
to my
think.
side.
Exactly.
At the end of
Fuck
the day,
the audience,
At the
what
end-
they
yeah.
think.
At the end of the day, it's like, bro,
No.
as a
They are
comic,
not-
The
man,
audience is number one.
No.
The audience is number one at
No.
all time.
Your number one thing is, like Doug Stanhope said this, he said all of your jokes, you should treat them like you're a defense lawyer defending your point. Because that's your joke, right?
Right.
And you're not trying to apologize for it. A defense lawyer doesn't apologize
Yes.
for his defense.
But-
He doesn't, he lands his
also,
point
as a
and
defense lawyer-
convinces the jury to
Right.
agree with him.
But
that's
also,
the job of a comedian.
as a defense lawyer,
Uh-huh.
you understand when the jury fucking rules against you.
Sure.
See, here's the point. See, to me, what I believe is this: when I go in front of an audience
Mm-hmm.
and my shit don't land, it's not on them.
No.
It is never on them.
Of course.
Right? So my job is to walk into the room and figure out why these people paid their money to see me. That is
I think
my
we're-
job.
I think we're kind of
as a
talking about the
comic.
same point, but in a
Yeah,
different
no,
way.
we
Listen,
agreeing. We
like,
agreeing.
we are, but here's
Hold
what
on,
I'm
hold on.
thinking
I don't
of
agree.
it.
Robbie, you do one set, okay? Pick one joke, X joke. People laugh, gets a good reaction. You do another
Okay.
set later tonight, you do the same joke, it bombs. So the joke is funny or it isn't funny.
No, it's not. It's
Which
not that.
audience
let me give
was
you an example.
correct and
let me
which
give you an
audience
example.
was
No, let me
incorrect?
give you an example. Let me give you an example. I have this bid about Robin Tugs, right? I have this bid about Robin Tugs. So I have done it. I have done it at like a fucking like corporate event where guys have money and they paid casually paid $70 to get their dicks fucking jerked off by some Chinese chick during lunchtime.
You've already
right?
changed the thing so
No,
much.
hear me out. Hear me out.
You changed the audience.
No, hear me
To
out.
me,
Hear me
it's
out.
two
No,
club audiences.
Patty, hear me out. Hear me out for 2 seconds. Hear me out for 2 seconds.
I think I know where the
And
point's going.
hold on. Hear me out for 2 seconds. And I will do that joke in that room, and the fucking murders. And then I will do that same joke in front of a broke college audience, and it fucking bombs. It doesn't mean that the joke is not funny. It's just that it was not appropriate.
Now do my
for
scenario.
that room.
Do my
So-
scenario.
No, but hear
You're
me out.
at one club. You're on a road
Yeah,
gig.
he's asking
7
a
o'clock
question.
show. You do X joke. 9 o'clock show. You do X joke. 9 o'clock. It was fucking murder. But earlier in the day, it bombed.
Right.
It was right.
Which audience is wrong?
So no, it's not about you. It's
like a
on
riddle.
me. It's on me to walk into the room and realize if that joke is gonna kill or not. If I walk into the room,
That has nothing to
No,
do
hold on,
with
hold
the
on.
audience
No,
being
hold on, hear me out,
right
hear me
or
out, hear me
wrong.
out, hear me out, hear me
So
out,
you're
hear me
proving
out, hear me
your
out. If I walk
that's
into
why
a
you
room
delivery.
and everybody's in $3,000 suit, I know that
Well, I know when you add that caveat, it changes
Exactly.
everything.
But
So
I'm
yeah.
talking
that's
about
my job. That's my
He said
job to
a
figure it out.
general audience.
It's not the audience.
That's what we're saying.
It's not the
That's what I was
the
saying earlier.
audience
Is what
is
it comes down to.
demographically exactly the
Guys,
same.
What-
At the end of the
Exactly
day,
same.
at the end of the day,
Who's right and who's wrong?
No,
Look,
but then
at
that's
the end of the
different.
day,
That is-
at the end of the day, a professional comedian can make any room laugh.
Yes.
Period.
You should be funny all the time.
Fact.
I disagree with that.
You
Why?
should be no, yes.
How do you
no,
disagree
no.
with that?
That's your job.
Because I don't think Dave Attell can go into a room of fucking.
I don't even know who Dave Attell is, and I'm a fucking comedian.
What?
Straight up, I don't know who that guy
Get
is.
out.
I'm sorry.
Get
I
out.
fucking went to Louis C.K. and heard him talking about
Get
fucking a
the
kid in the ass, and I
fuck
fucking
out.
laughed about it.
Louis
What's
C.K.
up?
wishes he was Dave Attell.
Yeah,
Bro.
exactly.
You know what?
Yeah.
Dave
You know what,
Attell
guys?
is real.
Fucking
You know what, guys?
fact.
Let's move on.
I
Let's
don't.
let's move on to
Factual.
some subject matters.
I
wanna
sent
talk-
him a
no.
video.
I want to sink this fucking point. At the end of the day, man, a comic can make any fucking room laugh. Period.
That's your job. That is your
Period.
job. That
Period.
is your job.
Period. Your job
Nobody
is to
owes
be-
you
to
anything.
make people laugh.
Nobody
What
owes
does a
you.
comedian do for a
Nobody
living?
owes you chuckles.
At
Make
the end
people
of the
laugh.
day,
Nobody owes you chuckles.
But at the end of the day, that just proves the point that the audience is not right. Your job is to make your
the
material
audience
funny
is always right.
to
The
any-
customer is
No.
always right.
That
It
we've
doesn't
proven
matter.
time and
It
time
is your
again that they're
job.
not, though.
Look,
They're
Yeah,
not.
when you like move to New York and talk to like big working, especially guys like Mark Norman, perfect example, who has explicitly said sometimes the audience is a cunt.
No. Let me tell you something. Guys who are on that level, they have a following, right? So you get 10,000 people in a room that all love your jokes. Of course, you can say that
but
kind
they
of
don't
shit.
do
No,
all those
yes,
Robbie,
rooms.
what
you
are
can-
you
They don't
talking
always
about?
do those
Mark
rooms.
Norman does 14 sets
He does,
at
like,
just shows
where-
on
Yes.
Tuesday in New York.
And
Sometimes the exact
He
same
bombs.
joke.
He's bombs
And,
on
exact-
your
and
time.
if you're not
4
doing
minutes apart in literally
He
one
talked
club
about it on
and then across.
Rogan. He
He's
literally
talked
talked
about
about
Jim and Sam a million times.
and he said
Robbie,
on Seinfeld-
genuinely, from what I know of stand-up comedy, being a podcast obsessed fan, Louis, Seinfeld, Patrice
all
O'Neill,
bomb.
Bill Burr,
They all bomb.
every single one of them would say, "Oh no, the audience is usually wrong."
Best is
the
Bill-
only
Bill Burr's
credit
story.
the audience gets is sometimes they actually get the joke.
Call me a maverick
Bill
then,
Burr's
motherfucker.
7
Listen,
minutes.
call
Bill
me a
Burr's-
maverick.
You're not a
If
maverick.
you want
At the
to,
end of the day, though, just to bring this argument to a fucking close, just to bring the argument to the close, no matter what the fuck you identify as, don't be a dick about it, man.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
good.
Listen,
But
guys,
sent
I
you
wanna
a
go- I wanna
video
go into
on
some subject matters.
Instagram. I want him to pull up this too. I don't know.
Can you send it to me on other thing? Otherwise, I gotta look it up. I can't play shit from Instagram.
Yeah, all it is the was it ABC News? They
the
leaked.
leak.
They leaked this fucking news reporter
yes.
saying
Yes,
that
yes,
he's
yes,
a
yes.
communist, and I mean we love him. He's part of the show now, obviously, but like, saying
But you know,
that
we're
they
not really.
actively- He's like, oh yeah,
our daughter's a communist. We're not communists.
We're not.
I'm
Yeah, we should make that
a
point.
capitalist till the day I die. My daughter just happened to be a communist. Her name is Patricia.
I don't know what
Her
to
name
do
is
about it.
Patricia.
But this fucking guy says on camera, oh yeah, we push down media that shows positivity towards the Trump administration. He literally says this on, and the funniest thing is like, he's part of a news organization. Well, all news organizations like say this shit that they are like, oh, we're unbiased news media. We know that you're biased. Like CNN is liberal and Fox is conservative. Just fucking say it already. Why do we have to be? What are you gonna try and set off the smoke alarms?
I know. Just
Why do we have to? Why are we playing this game still of like objective news media when you can clearly tell that they're not objective?
Okay.
It's the same story told
Listen,
from two
Johnny,
different perspectives.
Let me tell you something. Okay. There is no such thing as objectivity in life.
No, but why
Everybody
do they preach
leans.
that, is my point.
No. Listen, because it is the only way. It is the only way that you are able to
get
engage
Oreos as
into
a commercial.
conversation. Nobody is objective. It like in human nature.
Mm-hmm.
It is an impossibility to be objective.
Yeah, it's a lack of understanding how a human thought occurs.
Exactly.
A human thought is a series of biases.
Exactly.
That's
all that
it
we
is.
are.
Really all it
Listen,
is.
as humans, all that we are is a combination of two things: nature and nurture.
Yeah.
You cannot
You are
fail
the sum of the
any
five
of
people you
those two
surround
things.
yourself with.
If I grew up in fucking Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's why, for example, like sometimes I get into trouble for saying this. I don't believe that like I've had these conversations before about police brutality,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you have people that are trying to be like, oh my God, cops are racist. I don't believe that there are cops that wake up in the morning and be like, oh my God, today will be a good day for one of them good all the Alabama coon hunts. I don't believe so, right? No, it's true. I don't believe
There's
that.
not none.
I believe that all that you are is a combination of nature and nurture. If in your environment you are trained to believe that somebody who looks a certain color is a danger to you.
That's been statistically proven, though, that like black people literally they've literally done tests on this where there's a psychological, and they don't know if it's like an imprint or from like previous trauma of like so much segregation throughout North America that caused this kind of thing, but there is definitely been like a psychology study on the fact that like white people are just scared of black people.
Bro, no,
and it's a
listen,
it's a
I'm a
it's a
prime
thing that
exa-
if I sat down next to a random person of color that I met, we could have a nice conversation and get
but
along.
you know why though?
But
you know
if
why
I'm
though? But see,
walking down
Johnny.
a
But see,
dark
here's the
street
problem.
and I
Here's
see
where the
some-
problem comes in.
you know-
Is people who think like you think that they think like you because they are special or better evolved. The only reason why you think like
do you mean?
is because you were raised and grew up in an environment that allowed you to be able to see the other side of things. Imagine if you grew up in an environment.
Have you
'cause
Googled the
hold on,
demographic
hold
of
on, hold on, hold
Brockville,
on.
Ontario?
Do you know,
Pat, you want to pull up those statistics?
Yeah, we got one black guy and 74,000 white people.
Go,
Hold on, let me
right.
land this.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, in the 1960s, being labeled a nigger lover, that was the end of
It's a
your
crime.
life.
Sure, it's a
That
crime.
was the end of your life.
It was a crime.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you grew up in that environment, you had no choice.
No choice.
But trying to adapt, because human beings are pack animals.
People rebel,
We
man.
want
Nope,
to be
people
able
rebel.
to
He
is
belong.
right on that.
You see what I'm saying?
But if the law is enforcing
but see,
it,
do
it's
you
very
blame,
hard to
But see, do
rebel.
you blame that
Well,
person
actually, people
for
resisted the
thinking?
law.
Yep.
No, but
They
yes,
do.
Yes,
They do.
eventually,
They
through
do.
space and
Racism
time.
was a
blame one
top-down
person.
enforcement kind of thing in,
Yep.
in the U.S. It was
But-
exacerbated by the state. Like
Yes.
the reason
Yeah.
you had to make segregation laws is because because in the end, white people tend to like to do business with everyone, just like black people like to do business with everyone.
Because
But what you're
everyone
talking
likes
about
money.
of like the fear thing, that's not like a white thing or a race
No,
thing.
it's
It's an in-group thing, and it's actually a much bigger problem for everyone but white people. That's why you see in white countries this idea of diversity comes. It doesn't exist elsewhere. The only places this is even remotely
But
discussed.
why is that? It's because now we live in a world where being inclusive makes you
That's
more
only a
able
white
to
world.
to be able to belong in the group.
That is a white thing.
It's true. But
Diversity
see,
is a white
as a
thing.
white person,
Adapt or
see,
die,
like
man.
if you're a white person in Toronto right now and you go out and you're like, you know what, I hate niggers. You are cut.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah,
You
the,
are cut.
the
You're
social
gonna
stigma
exactly.
will fuck
Not
you
in
up as
Oshawa,
bad.
you're
Exactly.
not.
So that goes to show you. See, to me, that's why I don't believe
Ever
in
Milton,
quote unquote.
Ontario?
No, hold on.
I'm
That's
sorry,
why,
man. There's
no,
a lot of guys out there that are racist as fuck, and they
No,
put
no,
it
but
out
see, you
there.
know what? I don't believe in that.
buddy.
Let me tell you why. I don't like the moment the moment you stamp an ism on something, you are giving up. Nothing can be changed. The moment
Yeah.
you are a sexist,
That's a cop-out.
sexism,
Cop-out.
racism. The
Cop-out.
moment you do it, no. Here's what happened. Though.
Cop-out.
The moment you put an ism on something, that person is now no longer
You're
like
saying
you
you're
can't
not,
fix it.
By
They're
saying,
gone.
Yeah,
No,
by
what you're-
saying
you
that
see what I'm
is you're
saying?
not
You're doing
willing
is
to have a conversation.
assuming the person's motivation as a justification to not address the argument. This
And
is
not-
why the go-to
No,
thing when
your
I talk is people go,
motivations are
"You're
not
a
your own."
racist."
Racist.
No, it's true,
because they're
that's
not
it.
willing to actually have a
Because
conversation
the
with you and
things I-
understand
yeah.
why you think the way
But why
you do.
is that though? Why is it that person is not
Because
willing
it's
to have
easy.
that? No. It's because
It's easier to
for a
do
long
that,
time.
man.
Like,
We're
I'll give
simple.
you an example.
We're simple fucking
No,
creatures.
you remember who was
It's
that?
tribal.
Who was
It's
that guy that
tribes.
used to own the Clippers? Like, you remember that guy? He was recorded.
Yeah,
on-
exactly.
Like he was recorded on.
I know the girl's name, V. Stiviano.
Yeah. Like I forget Buddy's name, right? But Buddy used to like he's a 78-year-old guy who
Donald
grew up,
T. Sterling.
Yes, Donald Sterling.
Donald Sterling.
That-
Oh god, I
Donald
heard that
Thomas
name
Sterling.
in years.
No, but see, here's the
I
thing.
just
though.
don't want you taking pictures with them.
I don't want
Seems
exactly.
reasonable.
But see, what do you expect from a 78-year-old man that grew up in the south of the U.S.? See, to me, like it's.
Oh, no,
it's
and he's a Jew as well.
unfathomable. no, but see, here's the thing though.
That's a
Like,
double.
imagine
Jews
it-
have a extraordinary in-group bond.
Imagine in the age that
Of
we
course.
grew up
You
in,
can't blame 'em.
if like 20 years from now, pedophilia is okay.
It will be.
Like imagine, no.
No,
It's
no,
not gonna be okay.
no,
But,
Patty.
like, imagine,
they're
no.
already
Buddy,
pushing
no,
it.
but like,
They're
I've
already
I've been
pushing
to
it.
jail. I
But
know
see,
what they
listen,
do to pedophiles in jail, man. It's not
you
pretty,
grew up-
bro.
if
It is
you grew up in
not
the- in the
pretty at all.
1800s
You're talking
100s?
about 1% of the population who are the criminally
gets
violent
caught.
part. The rest
Buddy,
of society is
the ones that
spending the
get
last
caught.
20 years
If you grew up,
promoting pedophilia.
Have you been on TikTok?
okay, you know what?
Have you
That's-
read a-
You're a sick fuck.
Yeah.
That's
Have you-
I'm
No,
not,
no,
I'm not saying anything.
I've been on TikTok. It's
I'm not
wrong.
saying
That's
anything.
it.
I'm saying that's gonna breed some weird fucking people.
Listen,
Tranny
brother.
story time?
Listen, brother. May
gonna
we
breed some
all get rich and
weird
fuck
people.
21-year-olds when
Yo,
we're
You
what
wanna
the fuck
talk
is tranny story time?
Yeah, what the
They-
fuck is that?
There's a program in the U.S. and it's also in Canada where they get trans performers, transsexual drag queen performers to
but
go
they
in
get
front
protested.
of
They
the.
get
Of course they
protested
should
a lot,
because it's
right?
child abuse.
It is, man. You
Yeah,
shouldn't be
it's
honestly.
disgusting.
Look,
Honestly,
you
it is.
should. I'm not saying you shouldn't expose your kids to any of that period, but you shouldn't only
I'd say
expose them to
that.
that and nothing else.
They should at
right?
least learn
Like,
about it.
It's, there's,
Well,
there's,
wait,
there's-
I'm gonna Hitler.
You should learn
at
about it as what it is.
No.
It's like the
I mean,
product
learn
of the
about
I
Hitler.
believe and you should show your kids everything. This is what the world is.
Just don't encourage
Figure
it.
it all the fuck out.
So you
know?
guys are saying I should pull my son to the side and be like, listen, people are gonna try to fuck you.
All I'm saying, Robbie, is, Robbie, all I'm saying is don't cut off the
Hard
dick.
nod from the
Don't
gun.
cut off the dick.
If you want to avoid that, don't send them
That-
to a public school
you know what?
or
You know
a
what?
church.
That brings me to one of the first subject matters I want to talk about on
Yeah,
this
I get it.
podcast. Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade.
A disgusting individual.
Okay, you know what, Patty? Listen, first of all, this is our communist daughter. Please don't blame her. Please, no, listen. No, you know what? Let's actually have an
No,
intellectually
man, fuck
honest
that.
conversation
He
about
supported
Okay.
his fucking son's decision. What's wrong with that?
He's
Thank
supporting
you.
his son's decision that corresponds with a 60% suicide rate.
Yes.
It's like telling your kid,
Thank you.
hey, by the way,
Thank
the
you.
voices in your head that you're imagining, they're real. When they
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
you to step in front of the train tracks, do it.
The
when they tell you
monster
to cut
underneath your
yourself,
bed.
do it. That's what
Okay.
you're telling your
Listen,
kids.
listen.
Validating
Here-
voices
here's
that-
the thing.
fucking argument.
That is
I was
a
trying to
argument.
combat that.
No,
That's
he's
a good
not
argument,
valid.
bro.
No,
He's
but
not on camera, he can say this. He's not on camera.
validating the thoughts in a child's head is a
Fucking
dangerous
That is fucked up.
territory.
That is fucked up.
Dangerous
I wanted to be
territory.
fucking Optimus
Honestly-
Prime at 6 years old.
And
And I'm
now,
gonna give these kids
now
fucking
he's
hormones.
gonna do a fucking my son is trans book tour.
It's a big tour.
He is.
Yes.
You think that's what they're
It's a
doing?
tour.
He'll profit off the suffering of his
that's
child.
It's
sad.
really
That's
sick.
sad.
It's
Yo.
But
really
you know
sick.
what? You know what scares me is like my son.
Make a tweet.
My
Yeah.
son at
Put up an
17.
Instagram photo.
My son at 17 changing his mind and being like, "Holy fuck." The decision. Like, you know what he said? No, hold on.
Do you know
what he
Colin
said? He
Mockery?
said that his son
Colin
knew
Mockery.
his gender identity at 3 years old.
That's
You believe, like, at 3, like, you believe that a
is
3-year-old
so
can
gross.
make
no,
life-changing
Your
decisions?
mind
That's insane.
Doesn't even start registering memories
nothing.
until you turn
You
2.
are not even fully
crazy.
developed until you're 25 years
25.
old. Your
That's
brain hasn't
crazy.
even finished
But
its
yo, honestly, I do
creating
wanna,
itself.
Yo, hats off to him for fucking supporting the
Sure.
kid, bro. Like, what the
No,
fuck? That's
okay,
a hard
no, but you
decision
know
to
what?
make,
No,
man.
No, it's
Listen.
the easy decision
No,
to
no,
make
no,
because
it
what
is
he's
now.
actually doing is cowering to all the people who. This is the thing. Sorry, and this is doesn't want to sound too personal. You guys are on the easy side. What I do is the hard thing. When I say this is not fucking even remotely acceptable, it's child abuse. That is what is
it really
hard.
is. It really
That's
fucking
what's
is.
hard.
It's terrible.
What's easy is going like, oh, you know what? Let him make his own decisions. Like, that's the easy thing. It's easy to just let your fucking kids do what they want and not to explain to your kid, hey,
Holding the
this
smoke,
is
man.
wrong.
Fucking
This is
Jesus
wrong,
Christ,
and you're
Robbie.
going to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Or you are going to expose yourself to such extraordinary risk. The risk that, again,
What makes him think though that like right now it's great to
But yo,
say
It's a
no, but-
protected
Imagine what would
class.
happen to him.
Protected class
Imagine
right now.
what would happen
But
to him.
what's gonna happen?
Imagine
in the
what would
next
happen
10
to him
years?
if he said, "No, fuck that. You're not gonna fucking do that shit." Imagine what would happen to him. He
Yeah.
would be
Public
eliminated off
Yeah.
the fucking planet,
His
man.
public reputation would be destroyed,
But his
son would be
relationship-
alive and healthy,
Yeah.
and that's what being a parent
Here's
is.
my question.
Being a parent is
That's
Here's my
like we
question.
talked about,
That's him being
not
selfish.
hitting him because that's the easy thing to
That's
do in the
selfish.
moment. Do the hard thing.
You're a man of stats. How many children at the age of 3 were born boys and decided to become women at the age of 3 that actually carried on with it?
And how many
what are
of
the
those
stats?
people
What are the
didn't kill
numbers like?
themselves?
All I can tell
'Cause
you is
there's horror
because it's
stories.
exactly because it's very young. The best statistic I could attribute to what you're asking is about 85% of kids who identify as non-binary or trans by the age of 6. By the time they are 16, they are just gay or homosexual. They acknowledge that they're actually homosexuals, and this is the big problem because you also would go like, oh, Pat.
Give them time to figure it out.
Exactly.
them time
Pat
to figure
hates
it out.
gays. Pat hates gays. He's homophobic and he's racist. Honestly, the new homophobia.
That is homophobic
That's
and
a
racist.
brand. That's a brand.
Let him finish.
That's
The
a
Let him
new
brand.
finish, let him
homophobia
finish.
is not wanting gay kids to kill themselves. This is all I am on the side of. Is just saying like, by the way, Dwayne Wade, he's got the right to do with his kid what he wants because I'm actually in favor of. I'd much rather a parent abuse their own kid than have the state steal the kid from the parent and then the
That's
state do
fucked
the
up.
abuse.
That's fucked up.
That-
Would child services actually take your kid away because you won't let
Yeah,
him?
No,
man.
change
because
their
you
gender?
Yeah.
no, it's
Really?
the opposite.
Real
It's
thing.
because
No
you
way.
won't let him transition. It's happening in
Yes.
Canada.
It's
It's happening in
happening.
Texas, and
It's literally happening.
Really?
The
Where
most-
child services would
so if
take
your
your
child-
kid
if your
because
child
you won't
goes
put him
to
on
school-
hormone therapy.
Because you refused.
Isn't there a case right now?
There's
where
one in Texas,
a
there's one in
son-
Alberta.
A son
In
was staying
Alberta.
with the mother, and when he's with the mother, he wears a dress. When he's with the mother, he wears a dress.
because the
and
mom
he's
is a
'cause the mom is
trans rights
a-
activist.
Yes, so she pushes her ideology onto her kid, and then when
Just
the kid is with the
teach your
dad,
kids
he
what's wrong
doesn't.
and right,
He
man.
just wants to be a boy. He just wants to be a little fucking boy, and he wants to play, and he wants to run around. And the dad's like, this lady is fucking brainwashing him. But if the dad loses his case, like,
kid's fucked.
Yeah, so far he's got a temporary injunction on the
That's
custody
crazy.
dispute, so the mom
Crazy.
is taking full
The
custody.
world needs to
government
end.
should
That's
not-
really where we're at. The world
Bro,
needs
I
to end.
just think we
We
need to
need
fucking
an
know.
apocalypse.
No.
We need an
We just
apocalypse.
need to draw a
This
line.
shit is getting out of
Guys,
hand.
we just need to draw a line of what's right and wrong. I don't know. No
It's not even
child
what's right and wrong.
is. What if Patty said it best? He wanted to meet Optimus Prime at 6 years old. Like,
I
bro,
had a friend that
Yeah,
thought
kids
he
don't know
believed
shit.
that Optimus Prime was a real fucking person.
Yeah.
Okay, or a real fucking thing.
Yeah.
How? Please let your kids develop. Like, bro, I
also believe that. I named my dick
finish what I'm saying,
Opinus
Robbie.
Prime.
Let me finish what I'm saying. Dwayne Wade, I believe, did that just so he doesn't get fucking murdered, man.
Yeah.
Because
It
if
was
he,
selfish.
I think he believes he's doing the right thing.
I think so too.
He's
I-
ignorant.
But a part
Yeah.
of him is like,
Does he live in LA?
This. Because at the end of the day, if
Used to live
Dwayne
in
Wade,
Miami.
if Dwayne Wade was to turn on and be like, no, fuck that. Nope, not in my house.
Every
He would
black
get
parent in
crucified.
What would
America.
happen
No,
to him?
every black
He'd get
What would
parent.
happen to
crucified.
him?
Every black parent in America
But
would be like,
also, he's
Not
I
famous
get
ones,
that. I
but
get
yes.
that.
Famous ones,
Not
but
enough
most
people
of
to
them.
fucking keep him playing ball. That's for sure.
he's
But-
done.
He's retired,
He's
though.
done.
Bro.
Fuck, does
Oh
he
my
care? I
That,
don't
But
know.
you know what,
Fatty is right. He would
He
get
is right.
publicly
He would get
crucified.
fucking
but
He is.
that's,
crucified.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what being a
100%.
good
But at
parent
the end of the day,
means.
man, being
But
a good parent is
take it.
really
Yes.
teaching your
Jesus
kids.
was crucified.
Look, teaching your kids everything. You can't just be like, hey man, you identify as a girl, great, go. Like you have to teach everything. This
Have
is
you
what
guys
men.
seen
This is
that
what
video,
men do.
though,
This is
of-
trans. This is all of it. Now that you're old enough to fucking understand the whole pie, take your slice.
Also, you give kids hormones. This is the irony of
the
this as
really
well.
fucked
You
up
give
thing.
kids hormones at that such a young age.
That's so
they
bad.
don't end up developing secondary sex characteristics. So in the end, a boy who has been on hormone therapy, even I think by the time they've figured out, it only takes about 2 or 3 years to cause a huge problem.
Yeah.
So basically, a 10-year-old, by the time he's 16 and should be developing your secondary sex characteristics. So for men, hair, your balls drop, your dick actually starts to really extend. And that's where you go from having like your little nub dick to like a hanger.
I remember that time. Whoa, it's a hanger now.
But
It was always a hanger. It was always a hanger.
Yo, guys.
They
What's,
pulled me out
hold
like
on,
a
hold on,
kid.
hold on. But what's horrible about that is now kids who have gone through that can't actually, let's say they believe and stick with this trans thing, they can't get bottom surgery now. They can't
That's
actually get
fucked.
genital reconstructive surgery because they have failed to actually develop
And
what
you
the.
have one life.
Yeah, it's literally
the worst
it's
would be-
One life,
poisoning
one
your
dick.
kids.
The
One
worst would
life,
be
one
if
day.
his kid turned 18, he was like, I was wrong.
I was wrong.
Wow.
Can you imagine
How
that?
many times have we said
What
that?
do you do now? You
How
have
many
all
times
the
in your
money in the
life?
world. Now your child
And now you
is
can't
like,
fix it.
holy
That's the damn
fuck.
shame,
No,
man.
but you know what though? Let me ask you guys something. Do you guys see that video of him on a golf cart with his kid? Like he or she is trying to explain why she like.
Was there cameras involved?
Yeah, no. He was filming it. It was like an
Okay,
Instagram
it's a him
selfie
thing,
video.
okay.
And
was like, I don't know if I
yo,
believe
I
it
don't
or
know,
fucking-
Patty. I don't know if you can find it.
They will be judged. I would say, don't even think about that. Just be true to yourself, because are you really even, like, what's the point of being on this earth if you're going to try to be someone you're not? It's like you're not even living as yourself, which is like the dumbest concept to me. It's just like, be true and don't really care what like the stereotypical way of like being you is.
Even when people are being mean, and even when people are getting hurt
For sure.
because they're trying to be themselves, and even through that, you still want people to make sure that they live their truth.
Yeah, I think I know it can get tough, definitely. Yeah, but I think you push through and you be the best you, and especially more recently, like it's become a more accepting. Even though there's obviously a lot of people out there who still are like set, more in the like back in their days.
Is
way
that his
of
daughter?
mine.
Yeah, no, that's his wife.
But I think even
that's his
through
kid.
hard times,
That's
it's
his
just
kid
you
talking?
gotta
No,
just
that's his
push
wife,
through.
No,
No,
it's
no,
kid.
that's his
It's
kid.
like,
Kid.
it's worth it. I feel like it's very worth it.
She sounds like a white news reporter. from
Anyways,
ABC.
it's a lot of straw manning.
all,
and just like,
all I want to say is,
Like
look, his kid sounded like he knew what the fuck he was talking about. Let me tell you something.
No kid knows
let
what
me
they're
tell you
talking
something. Let me tell you something. though.
13, no kid knows
Let me
what
just
you're
fucking finish what I'm saying. No fucking kid knows what they're fucking talking about, man.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is a fucking 12-year-old, man. What the
I
fuck are
know.
you talking about?
I know.
Bro, like, I respect your decision. Good for you, but bro, there's more.
Think about it.
Think about it, man.
Just wait.
Look, if you
this
turn
joint.
18, 20, 25, and you look back and say, fuck, man, I done fucked up. Now what?
I wish I didn't go to college.
Because it's a non-reversible decision.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You can't go back.
Bro, when I was
You can go
12,
back on a partial
Bro, when I was
vasectomy.
12,
You know what I mean?
when I was 12,
Shit. That's why I got a partial vasectomy.
And
Because
al-
I wanted to make sure that.
Nah, man.
You also
Transition.
pitch to a group
At
of
the-
people
at-
suffering with depression like this is the cure,
end
and
of the
then
day,
it
man.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Look,
Oh
man.
my
No,
God.
man.
What
Look,
kind of
man. Look.
torture is
There's
that?
nothing wrong with what the kid said. Like, dude, it is hard trying to be yourself in
Yeah.
this world. That's
Get
a
it.
fucking great point. But how the fuck do you know who you are?
But
You're
that
12 years
isn't going to
old.
solve
And
the
also,
problem.
who's opposed to who
That's
he
not going to
is?
solve the problems. Yeah, who's opposing who he
No,
is?
it's really-
You're Dwayne
nobody
Wade's
even
fucking
I know.
knew.
You go to a
son.
private school.
Who the
Who's
There's no conflict. There's no
There's
resistance. It's
nothing.
entirely in his head.
It's a culture thing
Okay.
that's been infested.
Let's do
into
a
his
round
head.
table. Patty, wrong or right decision?
Oh, horrible.
Oh, terrible.
Johnny,
It's
wrong or
tantamount
right
to child
decision?
abuse.
Wrong.
Oh,
Robbie.
you are a terrible parent. You should fucking your child should be ripped
How
away
old?
from you.
How old was he?
I would say
old was
19
he?
is a good time
How
at
old-
least
how old
to
was-
start having this conversation.
Look,
25 is
I
a good
res-
time to
I
start taking the pills.
respect Dwayne Wade for supporting the kid and putting it out there.
How old was the kid?
But I do
In the
think
video
that-
or right
I
now?
do think
Right
that
now.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of
13.
13.
I do think there's that
13?
if you can't let your 12-year-old tell you what to do.
If they want to have, if
that's
your
crazy.
12-year-old comes to you at 4:45 while you're cooking dinner and says, "Dad, can I have cookies?" Are you gonna be like,
No.
"Well, you think you should have cookies?"
There
So,
you go.
know what?
Your
There's
kid
the
identifies as the
cookies.
Cookie Monster.
Yeah, let him have all the cookies he wants. Fuck the dinner that I just slaved over for an hour and a half that has
Exactly.
vegetables and steak and protein for
Yeah,
you to
have
grow
soda.
as a
Fuck your
human.
teeth, baby.
Yeah,
Like, you're-
fuck it. We'll pay for it later. That's what this generation wants. Is instant.
Anyways, let's
we gotta
just
bring
move
this
on.
up.
we gotta
Like,
bring
listen,
this up.
there's
We gotta
a
bring
couple
it up.
there's a
Yeah,
couple
there's
pieces I
so
want to
much.
talk about before the podcast ends.
Yeah, it's not.
Harvey Weinstein just got found guilty
Yeah.
on 2
Yep.
charges
Fuck that
of
guy.
of the 4 that he was.
I thought it was like
Um,
89.
No. It was 4 charges. He got
that
found
correct?
guilty on the minor charges. And I was watching this story. Here is my thing, right? Since when? Because see, to me, here's the thing, right? When you talk to women, right? You go on a date with a woman, and it is okay for a woman to put it out there to be like, hey, listen, I want a man that is able to provide for me X, Y, and Z, and that is the exchange for sex. A man like Harvey Weinstein, right? He has X amount of power. Is it wrong to leverage that?
I just love
For
the Dave.
pussy.
I just keep thinking of the Dave Chappelle joke where he's like, Harvey Weinstein is the only person that looked at a photo of and went, "Yeah, he rapes."
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, but like,
listen.
is it wrong
Listen.
to leverage power
Let me
for
tell
pussy?
you. Let me tell you what's wrong.
Yes.
What's wrong is all the motherfuckers let him do that shit for so fucking long because it was
No, but like,
okay,
why did he? What
and then
like?
flip the
His
fucking switch
brother-
on
No,
his
but
ass.
see, here's the thing though.
What
He
Robbie's
did not-
talking about,
he
the
did not
world
get
would come
convicted.
to an end.
Yeah,
I know, this is gonna be-
a lot of
this-
people will go down.
No,
But this
see,
is like feminism, like basically you could probably call this the 4th wave of feminism of just like literally it's a very
Hopefully the last.
Marxist kind of power dynamic thing where they go just like literally anyone, if you could possibly construe them as having anything more than you, they have like an unfair advantage over you and you can't be in any sort of like mutually consenting agreement with them. It literally is going to destroy the way the world works.
because to me, like, I'm like, okay, look, if women are able to leverage, because see,
Their
women-
looks,
like, right, their looks, like, you know what, you
the
can
fact that
decide
they have a
I
high
want X and
sexual
Y and-
market value.
exactly. Right, so
Pretty
if
fucking high.
I am an like quote unquote like
Robbie.
let me ask you a question. If Matthew McConaughey had done exactly what
That's the Chappelle
Harvey
bit.
There'd be no
Weinstein
complaints.
Brad
did,
Pitt. If it was Brad Pitt,
like,
that bitch would have come down and be like, I got
would
the
we
part.
be standing in the same position?
No.
I don't
Robbie.
believe so.
Robbie,
I
let me
don't
ask you
think so.
a question. Have you never leveraged the dick?
I'm not that powerful enough. Listen,
Have you never
if
leveraged
I'm
the
leveraged-
dick?
if
Dick
I'm-
doesn't have that market value.
No, Dick doesn't have the market
I
value.
just thinking like Bernie Mac.
It's true,
The
you're right.
Dick.
Dick is in plentiful
If I pull my shit out,
supply.
this
Dick
whole
is
room
free.
go dark.
Dick is free. The problem with
Dick is
Harvey
an endless
Weinstein
economy.
is he was leveraging his power, saying, "Hey, listen, bitch,
I'll
You
put you
wanna
in all three
be? You
Lord of
wanna
the
be the
Rings.
next Buffy, the Vampire Slayer?
Yeah, but still, bro.
You're
at-
gonna
at-
need to
at-
suck
at-
this
at the end
dick
of the day, I
to be the
don't-
next
Casting
Buffy.
couch, bro.
At the end of the day, I'm gonna stand strong on this point. I don't agree with Harvey Weinstein at all, man. That guy raped bitches, bro. That is not okay.
Okay, but see, no, but see,
Psychopath
here's the
is
thing, though.
like,
He
no.
did not
You know
get
what?
Some of them
convicted.
are not rapes.
No. He did not get convicted on first-degree rape.
No, exactly.
What he
It's
got
sexual
convicted on,
exploitation.
Sexual exploitation.
So what? I know
So,
people
but
that
see,
kill
is
people that are
sexual
convicted on second-degree
exploitation a
murder.
crime.
Same thing.
No.
A
No,
kill's
but-
a kill, my man. He raped bitches.
No. He
That's
didn't
the bottom
rape,
line.
though.
Yes,
he
he
didn't
did.
rape. No,
Yes, he did.
He did not
Yes,
get.
he
okay.
did. Harvey
Fatty,
Weinstein rapes
Fatty,
women.
Fatty,
Harvey
you did
Weinstein
not,
rapes women.
Listen. He did not get convicted on first-degree rape.
doesn't
So
mean he
what?
doesn't
He's
rape
got
chicks.
lawyers, Robbie.
Yeah, bro.
No.
He's got, he's
What are you
Harvey
talking about?
Weinstein.
Listen.
Even the last name, you don't think
Buddy.
he knows the best
Buddy.
fucking
No,
lawyers
but
in the
see,
world?
I am familiar enough with it. There are the ones where he was accused of like a forcible confinement and forcible penetration were absolutely the flimsiest accusations.
Absolutely.
The ones he got convicted on are certainly the one is explicitly
He's a creepy motherfucker.
the girl
there is no
voluntarily
denying that.
had sex with him in exchange for a movie part. She then
She didn't get it.
Exactly.
And then she got mad. Yes. Yeah. No. You know what?
So it's
That's fucked
basically
up.
contract fraud.
Rightfully
Yes,
so.
it is
Imagine
true.
he goes to
But
jail
it's
for
true. No,
contract.
hold on. But no, Patty is telling the truth. No, that's no. Listen,
It's
if
the
you guys follow
coldest
the
way to
story,
look at it. But
if
yeah.
you guys follow the story,
it is.
that is a fact.
Yes.
That is a fact. He made promises that he did not deliver on. That is contractual fraud. Do you get 25 to life on contractual fraud? I don't think so.
And speaking of the
Saying
lawyers,
that
by
he
the way, I
raped.
bet he only does four.
He
Four
is, no,
tops.
listen, he's a creepy motherfucker.
Yeah,
There
he's a
is
piece
no
of shit
denying
and a
that.
creep.
He is a piece of shit human being. Like, listen, for sure I would not want my daughter communist
So why are you
daughter,
defending the
right?
fucking
No,
guy?
No, I'm not defending him.
You are.
But what I'm saying is
The guy's
this.
a fucking rapist,
No,
man.
trying to make the
hold
point
on.
that,
He's
like-
not. No, but see, no, you can't say that, bro. Rape is forcibly forcing yourself
Yeah,
upon somebody.
This is why
that
language
did not
is so
happen.
important. This is why language is so important, and this is where tribe mentality and alphabet mob really starts to fuck with language. Is because they're changing language to such a point.
They've
where
broadened the term too
they've
much.
broadened this so much that like, and it's the same
For
thing.
political
it's the
motivation
same
as
thing
well.
like
That's
when
unfortunate.
you
Rape
call
the bitch.
everyone that you don't agree with a Nazi.
Yeah.
You've broadened the term that
Exactly.
you won't
Yeah,
recognize a real Nazi
guess-
if he's standing in
Guess
front
what?
of you.
That's the irony. Is now I am the head of a like. There's millions apparently of Nazis. I could not be in a bigger, more powerful position than just like you're lumping all these fucking
Yeah.
people in with me.
Daddy's
Guess what?
organizing a march.
So
Yeah,
few
we
of
gotta
them
wrap this
agree
up.
with any of the shit that I say or think, but guess what? They know you hate them now.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with rape. It's like, yes, his behavior is despicable,
Yes.
worthy of criminal
Yeah.
punishment.
Not criminal. Okay.
Yes,
much
because
Yes,
it's a contract
criminal
fraud.
punishment, man. What are
Yeah,
you
yeah,
talking
yeah.
contract.
about?
No,
Let's-
but see,
we
listen,
got-
look,
we got-
listen. There is no denying I will never invite him to
Yo,
my
these
barbecue.
communists
Sure,
are
he's not
That is a
fucking
fact.
wild
barbecue
right
But,
now,
to,
man.
but see, here's the
Fucking
problem though.
communist
No,
motherfuckers,
but
man.
see,
We gotta
here's the
end
problem
this.
though.
We gotta end
When,
this.
like a
This
word,
is good. I'm
no,
about to get
see, listen.
canceled, man.
Robbie,
I'm trying to
last
make
point.
this, Robbie.
Robbie, last
just to
point.
end this. Like,
Last
listen,
point, end this.
a word like rape. Here is my problem is. Okay, here's what my problem is. Everything swings on a pendulum. Eventually, there's gonna come a time where a word like rape has been overused and things like that are being fucking litigated in a court of public opinion, where eventually now people are gonna be like, you know what, fuck this.
I don't agree
You know what I'm
with
saying? 10 years from now, victims down the road are now, because eventually people are
Man, I
gonna
remember
realize
when
what the
people
fuck
took
is
rape
going on.
seriously. That's
No,
what
no,
they're
it's
saying.
true.
Rape.
It's true. When you
Rape is
overdo
rape.
anything, eventually the
No.
pendulum
In the
swings the other way.
1800s, that's just how you got a wife. Like,
Yeah.
it's a pendulum. It's like he
No,
said.
But that is literally it, is because it was so permissible. And then the
Yep.
society, similar with slavery, and society sort of has a cultural and moral awakening.
Right.
And then, however, remember, all the same people who were raping up until the point where the pendulum meets the middle, they have the epiphany. And now, and this is think of it in like the Second World War. The Second World War was not, the Nazis were not defeated by like blue-haired lesbians. They were defeated by the most angry, violent, bigoted men in England's Empire West. That's it. It's just these bad guys who at one point would have been the people going like, you fucking exposed your ankles, you deserve to be raped. Now they're like,
that's why I can't
he
wait.
hit on you twice at work. He's a rapist.
That's why I can't wait until Rachel Maddow gets accused of rape.
Oh, yeah.
That's when the pendulum is going to swing the other way.
She has been accused of bullying her staff.
That's when Rachel Maddow gets accused of rape. That is when things are going to swing the other way.
And lesbians have an extraordinarily high rate of domestic abuse as well.
And we can't wait to do that podcast. But until then,
I think on that note,
follow
rapist Rachel Maddow.
Make sure you follow at Comedian Fadi, at Roby Hollywood,
shows to plug in?
at the Johnny Rogers. I don't have any upcoming shows other than the big one.
May 2nd.
May 2nd, guys, Grand Gerard Theater.
That's right.
A massive 6 figures comedy.
That's right.
We got Johnny Rogers, Robbie Hollywood's headliner. We got Quincy Martin, Anthony Engelbrecht, Simone Park, Paul Thompson.
Killer show.
Stacked fucking lineup.
Murderous.
Tickets are going to go live very, very soon. You can catch me tomorrow in Oshawa at Crazy Jacks.
That's
and
right.
on Saturday at the Underground for 2 shows.
That's right.
9:30 and 11. The 11 o'clock show is a jail storytelling show.
You'll miss this because it'll be out Sunday too.
Right.
At MDAC Pod on Instagram.
That's
Robbie,
right.
do you have anything to?
At Roby Hollywood, I am. So this show comes out on Sunday. Where am I on Sunday? I am at. Hold on. Let me see.
While he's doing that, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, make sure you give the podcast
Roby Hollywood.
review.
All the shows will be on there.
Yeah, check out the Instagram. Until next time, stay communist.
Stay communist.
Mi sono svegliato, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Da mattina mi sono svegliato e ho trovato l'invasor. Oh partigiano, portami via, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao.